All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome, boss. I almost said welcome, boss. Welcome back to Boss's Lounge. Boss's stream. It's clearly his. I got him some new snacks. So that's why he's already on my lap here. Two different varieties of snacks for Boss. We got him some kind of... It's actually non-dairy because, you know, cats are lactose intolerant, but it's like dairy-flavored snacks. And then we got another one where it's like, actually has some kind of like soft center chicken flavor. He really likes both of them. So he's he's trying to let me know that I got to give him some more snacks today at some point. But yes, welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope everybody is doing well today. We have more PlayStation topics to go over and discuss. B01138 saying, got my Unicorn Overlord Collector's Edition today. Good stuff, man. Not familiar with the game, but you sound happy about it. So, good stuff. You're asking, boss, how his week was? How was your week? All right, look, boss. I don't mind you hanging with us today. Just please don't put your butt into the camera again. That's all I ask, boss. All right, I have everything set up to accommodate you. I made space. But yeah, let me tell you what some of the topics are that we're going to be going over and discussing today. And Josh, thank you for the super chat, man. You're saying story, sorry. Let me try that again. Because you started with sorry and I said story. Sorry, Final Fantasy VII, but I'm not about to sit here and watch these prosperity-hating robot scum take the 10 Quan Helldivers Liberty Calls. Tonight we dine in hell. Yeah, dude. Yeah, big update to Helldivers 2. They have a new premium war bond. I was playing it last night for a little while, and yeah, man, they really changed Helldivers 2 up quite a bit. They did, man. I didn't run the normal build that I go with, or class, I should say, whatever you want to call it. I usually take the railgun with the shield, and that combo apparently isn't really the go-to anymore. I decided to try out the flamethrower, which was definitely much better because they buffed it a lot. But yeah, man, I feel like that they increased the difficulty of this game substantially. I don't know if it's just me, but man, it really felt like with the changes they made, it made the game significantly more difficult. Maybe it was just me, but maybe it was just because I was trying a different build and I was struggling a little bit more because of it. But yeah, dude, funniest comment I saw, if you go over to the PlayStation YouTube channel right now, they just uploaded about like an hour ago the new war bond, premium war bond for Helldivers 2, and the top comment, and it's just the best comment, is it said comment under investigation for treason. Like, that's amazing. That's the best comment you could possibly leave on a Helldivers 2 video. But yeah, I hear you, Josh. Duty calls, right? Democracy calls. So thank you for the super chat, buddy. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. There's not a whole lot going on. I'm sure you guys have noticed it's been a very quiet week so far. Maybe not very quiet, but more quiet than usual. We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and how, according to the developer, they claim that exclusivity has actually helped this game. So obviously, we're going to get into that controversial topic. Before I do, though, we got Titus. Again, I always forget, is it Surger, but either way, you told me to call you Titus, so that's what I'll call you. Titus coming in, dropping a 5-bomb for you guys. 5 memberships gifted, starting us off here today strong. Titus, my friend, thank you so much for that, man. I'm going to add that to the counter here. Let's get some W's in the chat for our good friend Titus. And so, yeah, if you guys want to see Boss get his snacks today, you better gift or else. No, I promise I'll give Boss some snacks today no matter what. It's been too long. I mean, obviously, if you gift, that's great if you're able to support the channel, but no pressure, okay? No pressure. So Titus, thank you for that. We're going to be talking about this comment that was made about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Apparently, a certain portion of the game, certain aspect of the game was only made possible due to PS5 exclusivity. We're going to talk about that comment, talk about what exactly is being said there, and whether or not it's true. We're also going to be talking about some comments that came out yesterday that talked about the Final Fantasy Remake trilogy being like permanently exclusive to PlayStation, and apparently there has been a correction with this, at least not in terms of its permanence, but in terms of the third installment of the remake. So we'll talk about that. We got our man Hellbound 1981 coming in, following up Titus with another 5 memberships gifted. Hellbound, the legend, returns. Clearly, he's eager to see Boss get some snacks at some point. So Hellbound, my friend, thank you so much. I would have done the soundboard already, but Boss is kind of... Let me see.
Say hello to democracy.
Hold on. Did that soundbite play for you guys?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
These soundbites are playing for me. Let me know if they're playing for you. I can't hear them. They did? Okay. I guess it's just a little bugged on my end then. As long as they're working. So Hellbound, thank you so much, man. Titus and Hellbound just got us up to 10 members already on the day. You love to see it. Thank you guys for all of your support, especially during times like this when it's a little bit more quiet, a little bit slower. Means a lot. We're not just going to be talking about Final Fantasy. We're going to be talking about this supposed insider that just popped up out of nowhere. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but there's this individual on Twitter/X called Silk Knight or Silk Knight or Knight. I don't know. I'm just going to call him Silk Knight. And, you know, this person is seemingly giving out a bunch of different information about PlayStation, what to expect from them. You know, giving us, I guess, if you want to call it insider info, but right now they only have one. It's a new leaker, basically. We'll see how long they last. Hopefully they can go the distance. It would be nice to have a very reliable PlayStation leaker or insider, but they got the Ghost of Tsushima PC correct. Yeah, his account will be gone tomorrow. This person got the Ghost of Tsushima PC port correct. But since then, he's been giving a bunch of information. Some of it, I'll be honest, some of the information he's giving doesn't necessarily sound like insider info. It almost begins to sound like, you know, he's just making his best guess or taking his best guess, or just stuff that's kind of obvious. But other stuff he's being a little bit more specific about. So one of the things he's saying that I want to talk to you guys about is how apparently 2025 is set to be a massive year for PlayStation. Like a very, very big year. And I know that might be a little bit disappointing because it's like, well, we're not even halfway through 2024. So why should we care about 2025? But I do think that it's becoming kind of obvious at this point that 2024 isn't going to be a bad year. Certainly not. You know, it's clear that Sony has a lot going on behind the scenes that won't be ready to go until the earliest 2025. So we're getting basically further confirmation of that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Starfield because yesterday there were like, you know, some rumors, I guess, or just some conversations popping up once again about Starfield making its way to PlayStation 5 in November, which, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Naughty Dog and their next game. And so, yeah, that's just a brief rundown of the topics I hope to discuss with you guys today. So do me a big favor. If you enjoy the streams, if you enjoy the content and you want to show support, the easiest way to do that is by hitting the like button. Please hit that like button for us. And boss, please, come on. We don't need to see that right now, man. This cat, man, I'll tell you. Hit that like button for me. It helps the streams out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy them. Thanks to everybody who tunes in, even those who, if you can't tune into the streams live, the fact that you can watch it or do watch it after the fact still helps a lot. Thank you for that. 3 ways you can support me directly. Consider becoming a channel member. You gain access to some exclusive perks. You get members exclusive content. We do the members lounge. I do want to let you guys know, unfortunately, I will not be able to do a members lounge today. I have something important that I have to do immediately after the stream is finished. So apologies for that. But, you guys know how it is. We do many members lounges throughout the month. So consider becoming a channel member. If you're already a channel member, please consider gifting channel memberships and also consider donating a super chat. Really appreciate all that support you guys show. We have Severin Evans here with a $5 chat saying, you're still running with the Starfield on PS5 rumor. We heard this at its launch, and since then it hasn't happened. I would wait for official news. Well, to be clear, Severin, it's not that I'm running with it. It's that there are multiple individuals across, I guess you could say, the gaming landscape talking about this once again. And we have somebody, I guess this will just be the topic I start with so we can just kind of clear up the situation and what's going on. We have 223 Gaming decides to re-up his membership today, bringing us up to 11 members. 223 Gaming, thank you so much for that, man. Welcome back to Play Has No Limits. So opting in for the higher tier there to show some extra support. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. But Severin, so here's the situation. This new insider that I referenced, apparently people are now scouring this individual's account because they do believe he's an insider. They do believe he has inside information. And he is saying that Starfield will be coming to PlayStation 5 in November. And, that basically 2025 is going to be the year where Microsoft has their big third-party push where we start to get bigger titles. He doesn't name drop any, but he made it seem like the more franchise titles like Gears of War, Halo, and Forza potentially and stuff like that. And so we have Windows Central's Jez Corden. He came out and I guess kind of responded to this, and he said, since some people are asking me about the latest round of Starfield rumors, I will say definitively I have great sourcing that nobody is working on Starfield for PlayStation right now. Nobody knows what the longer term future holds, but don't expect it anytime soon. So, it's one of these things where there seems to be this kind of, boss, there's no way, bro. Sorry. He decided that the best way to come back was to go under my monitor, not around it. Never seen him do that before. I swear he does the strangest things when I'm streaming. But Severin, you're saying here with another chat, there was multiple saying it would happen at the Xbox business update to no avail and Indiana Jones 2. Turns out that's not true either. Well, here's the thing, Severin, and this is, I think, important for you to understand, as well as everybody else, is that Microsoft did not say that Starfield and Indiana Jones are not coming to PlayStation. They never said that. I know that there's this kind of sentiment that, oh, no, they did say that. They did confirm that. No, if you go back and listen very closely, Phil Spencer was asked, of the 4 games that are coming, is Starfield and Indiana Jones, are they part of those 4 games? And he said no. They're not part of those 4 games. Then in a separate interview, he was asked directly if Starfield and Indiana Jones will be coming to PlayStation 5, and he didn't deny it. He didn't say no. He said, we'll see. So I just think it's important for people to understand where Microsoft is right now, because we are still kind of seeing this back and forth. And to be honest, like, if Starfield is announced to come to PlayStation tomorrow, there will be some people on the internet that are going to, like, I guess, try to dunk on some people and whatnot. You know how it goes. But the truth is, it's like that. Yeah. Like, why would that be surprising at this point? Like, Phil Spencer never denied that happening. So if it does happen, like, no one should be surprised. No one should be surprised if it doesn't happen either. It's one of these things where Microsoft is just simply saying, we're testing the waters. We're going to see how it plays out. And there's a chance. That's what they're saying. There is a chance that Indiana Jones and Starfield and, all these future games could eventually make their way to PlayStation. So even if you're somebody who wants to listen to Jez Corden even says nobody's working on Starfield for PlayStation right now. He's following Microsoft's messaging, which is smart of him, by the way. He's making it known that like that could change. And then I think he edited his tweet and he added, nobody knows what the longer term future holds, just not to expect it soon. And I agree with that. You know, that to me is something where even if there is a PS5 version of Starfield that eventually comes, I wouldn't necessarily expect it to drop like in 3 months or 6 months. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's not a game that Microsoft considers porting to other platforms until sometime in 2025, maybe. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to clear this up a bit because I saw more people talking about it. Right. He's got like thick clumps of hair here. I saw more people talking about it, bring it up. And, you know, it's just like something that has become so clear to me, and I think it should be clear to everybody by this point, is that, you know, when it comes to both Sony and Microsoft, they are operating differently. Microsoft especially is doing something, again, by bringing some of their games to PlayStation that nobody really necessarily anticipated. And Sony is now, you know, I still see, it's weird because like Ghost of Tsushima was announced for PC yesterday, and it's not, you know, I'm not seeing as much of it, but I'm still seeing some people, not here on the channel, but maybe on like Twitter or in other spaces on the internet, that are kind of acting like LOL, like no more exclusives for PlayStation stuff. It's like, dude, where have you been? Like, what are you talking about? You know, like Sony's been doing this for literally like 4 years now, you know? And yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is nearly a 4-year-old game. It's like, I think everybody's just kind of accepted at this point and is totally okay with like, oh yeah, you know, cool. You know, if I went on the PlayStation YouTube channel and I went to go read the comments on the Ghost of Tsushima announcement for PC, and all of the comments were people saying, yo, this is great. More people get to play it. People saying like, look, if you do play on PC, you absolutely should buy this and play it. And it's a great game. And I'm in agreement. You know, I just think it's like, does this mean you should expect Ghost of Tsushima 2 day one on PC? Maybe not. I don't know that I would expect that. You might be disappointed. Maybe. Is it a possibility? Of course, anything's possible. But I just think that the days of kind of these back and forth spats about like, is this going to go there? And is that going to go here? And like, this will never happen and that'll never happen. It's like, it's clear that just, you know, what people expect probably either won't happen, or if it does happen, it happens much later. You know, it happens at a different time. Sometimes people are correct about what they expect, but they're wrong about other things. And I guess it's just the conclusion that people should come to by this point with both Sony and Microsoft is that they are pretty unpredictable, and they will make drastic changes if they feel like it's something they need to do. Things that you never thought were possible previously could very well be possible in the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years. So, you know. And Severin, you're saying, MBG, let me phrase it this way. Do you think Phil is honest? Also, is this wishful thinking or is this logical? My point being this. Do you trust that? Okay, well, I appreciate you rephrasing it there. That definitely makes it easier to answer. So, do I believe Phil is honest? In this case, I mean, generally speaking, I don't think Phil is honest, just for the simple fact that he is a business executive, and by nature, he could technically be honest in the moment, but he's also, you know, he's the figurehead of a corporation, of, you know, a big gaming sector of a big corporation. And so he could be honest in the moment, but then something changes behind the scenes, and then Microsoft makes a different decision. And before you know it, it looks like, wow, Phil just straight up lied. I think there are times where he maybe has lied, you know, in a more indirect way. Again, I feel like that's just kind of the way it goes. Boss, hold on. You want some snacks? I'm gonna give boss a couple snacks now. I don't know what's wrong with this thing, dude. They like won't come out. There you go, man. Sorry, I just felt bad. He was really he was waiting patiently, so you know, again, do I think Phil Spencer is a liar? I mean, I think all business executives are liars because I think it comes with the territory. I think it's part of the job. I think it's that anytime an executive speaks publicly, speaks to the, you know, the audience that consumes their product, I think it's just they do so knowing that, and that could change. And, you know, they can't say that every single time. I think they try to, but they have to appear confident while also knowing that their plan could change at any moment. That's part of their job. So in that sense, yeah, I think all business executives are liars. But when you say here, is this wishful thinking or is this logical? Do I trust it? Like, do I trust that, you know, Starfield is going to come to PlayStation 5 this November? I mean, I'm kind of in the middle, to be honest, right? And I know that maybe is an unexciting answer, but is it logical? Yeah, I do think it's logical. I do. I really do. Because think about it. Microsoft has already laid the foundation of, we are willing to do this. We are willing to take 4 of our games and put them on PS5. Does that mean we're doing all of our games? No, we'll see, but we are willing to do it. So they lay down the foundation. They ripped the Band-Aid off, so to speak. And, you know, it's now one of these things where it's like, okay, well, there we go. Like, they did it. They did something that, again, is unprecedented. So if you're Microsoft and your goal, like your reason behind doing this is you want to maximize sales, you want to maximize profitability on your games, Starfield is one of the biggest games that they have. It's been on PC. It's been on Xbox for a while now. And if you look to like November of this year, I mean, it'll basically have been a year since it released for Xbox and for PC. So logically speaking, I could see Microsoft saying, okay, that's long enough. Let's get a bunch of sales on PlayStation now at full price. You know, basically get the most out of Starfield. Now, if they want to wait longer, say we'll do it maybe sometime in 2025, that would be logical too. If they say, hey, we're still getting pretty decent sales here on, you know, on Xbox and whatnot, then I could see that too. Boss, was that really not enough for you, man? I gave you quite a bit. Yeah, Dark Horse. I guess you're just coming in now. I did talk about that. Boss is messing up the focus of the camera. Sorry about that. Just have to bear with it, I guess, as long as he decides he just wants to sit in front of me and intimidate me. But yeah, Dark Horse, we did mention that. And so it's like, do I believe Jez Corden? I mean, yeah, he sounds pretty, you know, the thing is, again, he's just simply saying that right now, nobody's working on it. He's not saying it won't happen. He's just saying right now, it doesn't seem like it's in the works. And that we shouldn't expect it anytime soon. And again, it's just Jez being smart about it and understanding that nothing is off the table. It would be like me as a PlayStation fan turning to Xbox, or sorry, not Xbox players, PC players, and saying, "Oh yeah, well, don't expect to ever play Spider-Man 2. It's not happening." Nope. It's like, what do you mean? There's a really good chance Spider-Man 2 will make its way to PC. You know what I mean? Well, don't expect God of War. You know what I mean? It's just like, sure, Spider-Man 2 might not necessarily be in the works for PC right now. I mean, maybe it is. But even if it was, it's like, okay, yeah, not right now. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be. So, yeah, it's just one of these things where if you listen to what Microsoft told you, like, let's put insiders aside. Let's put all the insiders aside. if you just listen to what Microsoft told you, what Phil Spencer told you, then you know that it's a 50-50 thing. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Wait and find out. See, there's a reason why Microsoft chose to approach it that way and leave it that way, because it ends the conversation, essentially. I mean, we're still having the conversation now, of course, but effectively it does end the conversation, where if you're an Xbox fanboy, you can't say it's never going to happen, keep dreaming. If you're a PlayStation fanboy, you can't say it is going to happen, take the L. Because right now it's like, one of you is wrong. You know what I mean? Like straight up, one of you is wrong. So it'd be wise for nobody to say things definitively like that until we hear from Microsoft. And Severin, sorry, man. Thank you for the super chats, by the way, Severin. You're saying if you should be worried about anything with day and date, it should be, I think you're saying like looking at Helldivers 2, it was a day and date PC game, and PC is the bigger base of players. They support it more than PS5 players. Well, I don't think we have evidence of that, or not evidence, but proof of that, I should say. I think that is something that a certain group of people decided to run with, because everything we've heard, everything that I've heard, like if there's something I'm missing, please tell me. Please let me know. Because I don't know. I'm just going based off of what I've come across. Everything I've come across has basically said it's pretty much a 50-50 split, where like 50% is coming from the PC side and 50% is coming from the PS5 side. And something else I've also seen quite a few people say is that they do have PlayStations, but because it was available on PC, they decided to go with the PC version, which is interesting. But listen, here's the thing. If it turns out that Helldivers 2 had a stronger performance on PC than PS5, I wouldn't be shocked by that. I wouldn't be. Because to be honest, a game like Helldivers 2 does seem like it is more likely to appeal to PC gamers on the surface than PlayStation gamers, because it's a different type of game than what we usually get from Sony on PlayStation consoles, on PlayStation 5, at least from what we've gotten in a long time. So it's like, oh yeah, it turns out it did slightly better on on PC. It's like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, PC players, it seems like, are always kind of looking for those types of games. PlayStation players, dude, trust me, I was talking all about Helldivers 2. Anybody who's been following me for a little while, you know this. I've been talking about Helldivers 2 for probably a year straight. Not every single stream, not every single video. Jeez, boss, come on, man. Hogging up the camera here. And I was very optimistic about it, but I can tell you, because I went back to check some of the comments and what people were saying, and even on PlayStation's official YouTube channel, going and looking back at the comments of previously released Helldivers trailers, it was so clear that, dude, everybody was very skeptical. PlayStation fans were skeptical. They were like, maybe I'm on the fence. It looks like it could be good, but it's not really my type of game. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I've even seen people here on my channel basically saying that, like, yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot. And it seems like once it kind of took hold, it blew up on PS5 and PC. And really quick, before I read what Zombie Fanatic says, Severin, again, thank you again for all the super chats, man. You're saying NeoGaf says that 6040 and PC is the 60. It's only 5 days old at this time. My point is that it shows day and date makes more sales than waiting does. Yeah, but here's the thing we have to consider, Severin, and I do think this is important to consider. Look at the type of game, again, Helldivers 2 is, and then stack that up to a game like, we'll just say God of War Ragnarok, right? Would Sony walk away with more sales overall, if God of War Ragnarok launched day one on PC and PS5? The answer is yes. Objectively, yes. Factually, yes. They would have gotten more sales if that happened. But the part of the equation that we are leaving out there is, but what about console sales specifically? How many people would have just decided, you know what, rather than picking up a PS5 for this highly anticipated single player exclusive, I'll just buy it on my PC that I already play on. And see, that's really kind of the tug of war here. What I'm trying to say, Severin, is that Sony was wise to release Helldivers 2 day one on PC, because I think what Sony realized, again, wisely so, is that, you know, a game like Helldivers 2, this isn't really going to be the game that sells units. That, Jesus, boss, come on, can you move a little bit? Like, come on, bro. I'm doing this whole freaking conversation with you just sitting directly in front of the camera. Let me see if I can. I'm just going to come over here. There we go. I think Sony wisely understood that Helldivers 2 is not going to be a system seller. It's not. It's not going to sell PlayStation consoles in the same way or at all compared to Spider-Man 2, compared to God of War Ragnarok. And that's why these games, I believe, still are not going to go day one onto PC. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they will, because I think Sony still sees, like, damn, these games move a lot of units. To whereas a game like Helldivers, knowing it's a shooter, knowing it's co-op, knowing it's not single player, it's certainly not, you know, it's not comparable to games like Horizon, God of War, The Last of Us, etc. It's very different. Sony probably just thought, you know what, since we're not using this game to sell units, put it on PC as well. And again, it was a very smart move on their end, because it clearly did very, very well. It's hard to say if Helldivers 2 would have achieved the same level of success it has without PC. I think it's safe to say PC definitely helped that game a lot. But you know, at the end of the day, it really boils down to how important console sales truly are to Sony. Because the thing is like, well, MBG, you just said it yourself, God of War Ragnarok would sell more if it dropped day one on PC. Yes, it would. The question is, how many millions of units more? And would it be worth it, right? Would Sony sell the same amount of PS5 units? Would we see a substantial drop in PS5 unit sales with the, with God of War Ragnarok attached to it? These are things that I firmly believe Sony's going to begin to experiment with going forward, by the way. Just because this is how I feel now, based off of what I know now, doesn't mean I don't think it could change. I think it absolutely could change. It could. I think it's just as a matter of like how much risk Sony is willing to take with the console specifically. We have, let me see here, Zombie Fanatic. 1 second though, Zombie Fanatic. We got Chris B coming in, dropping a 10 bomb on you guys. Out of nowhere, Chris B is getting us to the goal. He takes a huge chunk off there, drops 10 gifts for you guys. Let's get some W's flowing in the chat for Chris B. Thank you so much, man. Hopefully that came through. I really don't understand. Oh, you know what? I know why I can't hear it. I gotta fix this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Or maybe it's still not fixed. But anyway, Chris B, dude, thank you so much for that, man. That brings us up to 21 members on the day. We are just 4 away from crushing the goal of 25. Love to see it. Thank you guys so much for all the support, man. Boss is very happy. He knows. Boss is like, I'm pretty sure Boss is just sitting here until we hit 25 members because he's like, yeah, I know I'm going to get more snacks. So Chris, shout out to you, man. We got Zombie Fanatic saying, do you think that Sony/PlayStation will take Microsoft/Xbox's route and close down their physical disc producing division in 10 years or so? That's a good question. I mean, in 10 years, so you basically are saying by the year 2034, will Sony no longer produce physical games? That's a tough one to answer. Like, a part of me thinks that there's a very good chance the answer to that question could be yes. I mean, obviously, I can't predict the future. We are seeing like a rapid decay, unfortunately, in physical, in just physical media support from retailers. And Sony, I think Sony is kind of at that point where it's like, when they're, boss, I don't appreciate you biting me like that, bro. when their percentage of the amount of people buying their games physically drops to a certain percent, like maybe below like 5 or below, then they might do something like that. Maybe even like 10 or below. And we got Chris B dropping another 5 memberships for you guys. Chris says, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to get boss his second round of snacks. Chris gets us up to 26 members. Chris, dude, thank you so much for the support, man. Thank you guys for the awesome support today already. Zombie Fanatic, give me one moment while I give boss his supply drop here, his snack drop. Here we go. All right, I'm going to give him these ones now. They are Temptations dairy flavor. As you can see, he's very excited for these ones. Dude, I'm going to end up making boss really fat. I've been giving him a lot of snacks lately, but here we go, man. They're right here, man. All right, I think that's going to have to be it today for snacks, though. Enjoy, boss. So, Chris, thank you so much for that, man. Dropped 15 gifts on us. Getting boss some snacks. Appreciate it, bro. Zombie Fanatic. Yeah, I do think there's a very good chance that in 10 years we won't be seeing physical games produced by Sony anymore. But at the same time, there are other factors here that maybe make me say, actually, no, I think we will see it, because Sony just signed a deal with Disney to exclusively produce all their physical media going forward. So think about that. It's like, well, Sony clearly sees value in producing physical media. There's clearly something there that Sony, for all we know, Sony might be looking at it as like, okay, everybody else wants to go digital. What if we don't? What if we can carve that out? I mean, we're seeing places like what's the limited run games, and I know limited run games isn't the only one. There are other like physical game manufacturers, but we're seeing them like kind of grow because they are gonna be needed to fulfill a need in the market. And so Sony could maybe just say, you know what, we could be part of that. We could have a piece of that pie, a big piece of that pie, maybe the biggest piece of that pie. There's no way you ate all those already, bro. No way, boss. That's concerning. Wow. But yeah, I do absolutely think, sorry, I'm just updating the member goal here. I do absolutely think that Sony is, they are, I think, right now more likely to continue to produce physical media at least 10 years from now. I guess the reason why I say like I could see the answer to that being like, no, they're not gonna, oh my God, I may as well just be off camera. I may as well just make a boss cam and just not even be on camera. But the reason why I feel like there's a chance they might not produce physical media anymore is just because while we see they are producing a digital only console, and we know that they get a much bigger rip on, people buying games digitally through their storefront. So there is this incentive for them to, to want to get away from it, but I also think that they are showing signs that they don't necessarily want to get away from it. No, Severin, I'm not ignoring your super chat, man. I'm just trying to make sure I give everybody who super chats their due time. So just hang tight for a second. I feel like, dude, Severin came in. He wants to throw down today. It's all good, bro. We all have those days, you know. But Zombie Fanatic, we'll see, man. I absolutely want to see Sony continue to produce physical media, physical games in the foreseeable future, in the long term. Severin, you're saying here, now MBG, does PlayStation make most of their money on software or hardware? Last I checked, software is 85% of the revenue, right? So which makes more money? No, you're absolutely correct. You're correct. But here's the thing, though. See, Severin, I do think you are missing a factor, because you're not wrong. You are pointing out like things that are true, and what you're pointing out are reasons for Sony to say, you know what, maybe we should be more willing to embrace PC on a bigger level, right? And it's in the name of software sales, which is where the bulk of the money is made. But something you are, I think, forgetting here is that you have to ask yourself, well, okay, if Sony doesn't make the bulk of their money on selling consoles, and they make the bulk of their money selling games on those consoles, for those consoles, then why exactly does Sony care so much about selling consoles? Well, it's a matter of control. Like I said before, it's a percentage game, right? Where when Sony sells you a console, they are not just selling you a piece of hardware. They are basically selling you their storefront. You now have access to the PlayStation Store. And there's a really good chance now, as we just talked about, that most customers who are going to buy a PS5 that gain access to the storefront, they're going to buy games digitally. And so if they're buying games digitally from Sony's storefront, then they're getting a bigger rip, you know? They're getting it like straight up. If it's their games, they're getting 100% rip. They're getting a rip from every microtransaction, from every game that's sold on their storefront. You know what I mean? They're getting more money ultimately, because if you look at Call of Duty, for example, right? Why did Sony freak out at the idea of losing Call of Duty? Is it because Sony makes the bulk of the sales money from Call of Duty? No, Activision Blizzard makes the bulk of the money, specifically 70%. But Sony makes 30% on every sale. I don't know if it's a full 30%. I think there might be a little bit more to it, but they make a percentage on every sale, and they also make a percentage on every single microtransaction in Call of Duty. So you can see how much money, to whereas if Sony didn't have their own ecosystem and their own storefront with the PlayStation Store, Sony wouldn't have any of that. They wouldn't be making any of that money. So you have to understand that even though it seems like on the outside looking in, like Sony should just embrace PC, like just go full blown, right? Like drop all your games on PC day one, make the most money. Like, yes, you will be making more money. You will be making more sales on your games. But what is the cost associated with that? I'm not saying this is the cost, but this is the risk. The risk is it could cost you people buying your console and being involved in your ecosystem. It could cost you customers at the end of the day walking away from the PlayStation storefront. And that is the, I would say, tricky position that Sony finds themselves in right now, where it's a balancing act, where they have to still try to make the console as appealing as possible, keep console sales flowing to the best of their ability, keep people coming into their ecosystem, keep people engaged on the PlayStation Store, you know, while simultaneously understanding that we do need to try to get more sales. You know, like we do need to, for games like Helldivers 2, be willing to put that out there day one. We do need to be willing to take these games that did bring people into our ecosystem, that did get people onto our storefront, and start to put them out there. But there's also this aspect as well, which we've talked about numerous times, but it's worth bringing up here. We've talked about this aspect of Sony maybe starting to expand their storefront to other places, expand PlayStation Plus to other places, PC being one of those places. This could be Sony's way. And it's interesting. I want to say real quick, and Severin, I'll read your next super chat in a moment, and Chris, yours as well. I saw somebody in my comment section yesterday. They basically were saying that Sony's going to fail if they try to make their own launcher on PC. Sony's not going to be able to compete with Steam. And if Sony is going to release a launcher where, you know, for those who don't know, I mean, I think most of you do understand this, but for those who don't understand, essentially what will happen if Sony makes their own PC launcher is it'll make it so you don't have to go to Steam. We don't want you to go to Steam. Sony could, in theory, let's just say by 2026, the launch of Wolverine, let's say by that time, Sony launches a PlayStation PC launcher. And when you open it on your PC, it's basically PlayStation. It's basically a PS5. You know, it looks almost identical. It looks just like the PlayStation Store that you see on the PlayStation 5 right now. And Sony will say, if you want to play Wolverine on PC, you have to buy it and play it through the PlayStation PC launcher. You can't get it on Steam. You can't get it on Epic Game Store. You can't get it anywhere else. Other publishers such as Ubisoft, EA, Activision, they've all tried this in the past and it just didn't work. They all eventually caved and said, all right, we just got to go to Steam. And a lot of people are saying that if Sony tries to do something similar, they're going to cave and end up going to Steam too. But maybe Sony will be smart about it. And if they are going to go through with a PC launcher, they'll just say it's an option. You know, like it's an option for those who want to have their, basically convert their PC to a PlayStation console in a way, I guess. But it'll be a way for Sony to get their own storefront, I guess, on PC, potentially. I think that'll really be the purpose it serves. And we have Exley Get Some Trismegistus coming in and dropping another 5-bomb for you guys. Exley's making his presence known once again.
Say hello to democracy!
I'm assuming, Exley, you've still been playing some Helldivers. Maybe you've seen the updates. Or you've experienced the update. It was so funny, dude. When I was playing Helldivers last night with Brown Sugar, he had no idea about the updates, and I was thinking about not telling him because he was doing the full meta build just like I was, and he had no idea that everything changed. I was thinking about just not telling him anything and letting him go in blind, and he'll be like, "Yo, what's going on? Why do I suck all of a sudden?" I'd be like, "I don't know, man. I guess you lost it. I guess you lost your edge." But no, I was nice. I told him. I informed him of the situation. Yeah, you say you got blown up by a meteorite? Yeah, dude. I experienced a meteor shower in one of the rounds I played yesterday, and wow, dude. I didn't see that one coming. I did not expect, one of the updates to be like planetary hazards, and I didn't expect them to be so devastating. It looks so cool. It's hard not to get distracted by it. So, Helldivers 2 still going strong, man. But actually, thank you so much for dropping 5 more gifts, man. You just brought us up to 31 members on the day. Really appreciate the support, guys. Let me see here. Chris B with a $5 chat as well, saying, also, Sony is losing 30% for each sale or of sales to Steam in PC. So they have to be cautious not to cannibalize console sales where they get 100%. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, man, is here's the thing. It is pretty much widely known for those who have been paying attention that Sony's profit margins for the PlayStation brand are slim and they're shrinking. And that's the big problem. The big problem is we're making more money than ever, but our profit margins are slimmer than ever. What's going on here? And this is what's leading people to assume, and again, it's not a bad assumption. I understand the logic. There is logic behind it. Well, Sony's going to go day one on PC. They're going to start putting all their games everywhere. They might even start following Microsoft, right? Who knows? Like, it's all in the name of raising those profit margins. But this is where I try to tell people, like, hold on, pump the brakes on that. You could be correct. However, it's worth noting that, like, and I actually put a video out on MBG Plus. It was actually cut out from one of the streams where I talked about, like, people I think are too quick to overlook the fact that one of the reasons why Sony's profit margins are so down, it's not just because of, oh man, games like The Last of Us cost $220 million. Like, is that a part of it? Absolutely. That is a part of it. But a bigger part of it is, oh man, we just bought multiple studios for live service and they've produced nothing. Oh man, we spent $3.6 billion on Bungie and they're bleeding money. Man, we dumped who knows how much money, easily over $100 million, probably more than that, into The Last of Us multiplayer, and it got canceled. 0 results. We hired probably very expensive people. I want to remind people that one of the hires at Naughty Dog that left last year, and it's obvious why they left, they hired the person who made the battle pass for Fortnite, bro. They hired that person to work on The Last of Us multiplayer. Do you think that guy was cheap? Sony probably, probably went after that guy. They probably sniped him, I forget the term that's used. There's a specific term that's used, like headhunting, I guess. And I don't know why I can't think of the term, but I just think people need to understand that Sony is more likely to look at that stuff and say, that's the problem. That's why we're not making good profits and our profits are shrinking because poached. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah, they probably poached them. It's not that Sony's going to look at Spider-Man 2 being $300 million and say, that's great. Keep it up. No, they're going to say, okay, let's try to lower that if we can, please. Of course they're going to do that. But this is why I tried to explain to people that, like, Sony's solution for their problem is not to turn to Sucker Punch or to turn to Santa Monica or to turn to Guerrilla and say, please make smaller games. That's not what they're going to do. Because it doesn't make any sense. They're going to say, please try to keep your budgets under control. And, do your best. But it would be asinine. Like, straight up. And I think you guys would agree with me on this. It would be asinine for Sony to turn and say, because it would be like a Warner Brothers move here, right? I think Horizon and God of War and The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, I think these games are the problem. It's like, wait, what? Like, there are some problems with that, but you can sort that out. Like, that's the good stuff, dude. Like, that's the good shit you guys are doing. The problem is more likely to be your Twisted Metal game from a new studio that you bought that is on fire, that you spent a lot of money on. All these live service games that you had to cancel because it just wasn't working. Obviously, Helldivers 2 is not a problem. We'll see if Concord is a problem or not. But that's why I just think it's like Sony, to get back to the main point here, Sony is much more likely to look at what they attempted to do with live service in the past 4 years. Look at the investments they made in the past 4 years into live service. Look at how much money they lost on that and say, you know what? Let's clean that up. and then check our profit margins then. They're more likely to do that than to just say, you know what? Screw it. Every game going forward, day one on PC, because it's exactly what Crispy is pointing to here, where he says that Sony does have to be cautious not to cannibalize console sales by doing that, because we don't know. We do not know, man. I will tell you, I'm seeing more people than I have in a long time, if ever. Granted, I don't know that they represent the wider console market, but I've been seeing more and more people saying like, yeah, dude, I think I'm just going to go to PC. And so it's like, if that's true, you know, that's a PlayStation Store customer potentially saying, you know what, I'm not shopping at your store anymore now, Sony. I'm good. I'm going to Steam. That is a problem for Sony. Like, that is a serious problem for Sony. And they need to be very, very careful of that, because Microsoft has proven that once that is a slippery slope. And like once people start leaving your store to go to somebody else's, especially in a day and age of digital storefronts, once people start doing that, you're never going to recover. Like, now you have no choice but to embrace it. And it doesn't have to always be a bad thing, but it's a matter of what your business goals are. Now, I'm going to say Sony has spent pretty much the last 2 generations, 2.5 if we're counting the PS5, starting with the PS3, Sony has spent multiple generations building up their own storefront, their own ecosystem. It would truly be a shocking move if they were just like, you know what, we're willing to risk it. If that's what they did, then it would show you just how dire things are. But I don't think that's the case at all. Yeah, again, I agree, actually. The live service stuff makes sense for day and date, because like Sony, I'm glad they're not being stupid about it, man. Like, it would truly be, in my opinion, dumb if Sony was like, we're going to make exclusive live service games, like just exclusive to this console. It's like, it's like, that's so counterintuitive. Like, single player games totally make sense. Live service, not quite understanding that. So I think Sony's making a smart decision with that one. No way, Irfan. Are you serious? No way. MBG Spider-Man 2's new update has accidentally allowed access to the development game menu. Nah. No way. That's crazy. That's scary. Man, Insomniac is shook, bro. Insomniac tweeted about it. Hold on, let me go check this real quick. 38 minutes ago, Insomniac posts, we're aware the latest game update may have inadvertently allowed access to a development game menu. There's a hotfix on the way. Please note that using this menu could corrupt your saves and trophy progress. There is no risk associated with playing the game as intended. Wow. Man, Insomniac can't catch a break. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't mess with that. Risking my trophies? What are you, crazy? Severin Evans with a couple more chats here. Severin, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You're saying, MBG, I told you this before. I am a PC gamer. I'm not interested in console wars. I think logically. Some will never game on PC and vice versa. Some will never game on console. Why not get both then? MBG, a PC launcher would do that for PlayStation on PC also. And yeah, that's true, Severin. You have stated this before, and I'm of the mindset that I don't think they're like, I can understand from a PC gamer's perspective. Absolutely, it's really not hard to understand why it's like Sony should just release all their games on PC. I try to imagine if I was gaming on PC and I kept seeing more and more PlayStation games over time making their way to PC, and then I see Helldivers. Yeah, in my mind, it would be like, well, Sony, come on, you know what you got to do, right? But there's that, again, it's the business side of it that even though it's not my prerogative, like PlayStation's storefront is not my storefront. I'm not Sony. I'm not part of that business, even though it might not seem like it. But trust me, I'm not. Like, I'm just a player of PlayStation. And, would I still shop on the PlayStation Store, even if Sony put all of their games onto PC? Yes, I would. I might be, again, if Sony has their own PC launcher, like we talked about yesterday, like maybe I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll go check out what's going on over there. But would Sony's storefront just collapse overnight? Bro, boss, what are you doing, man? Hold on. All right. Would Sony's storefront collapse overnight if they said all of our games are going to PC day one? No. But what it could do is set the wheels in motion. It could be the beginning of a collapse for their storefront. We don't know. Because what you're saying is like, hey, there are just going to be some people that they game on PC no matter what. They're never going to console, vice versa. There are going to be people that game on console that never go to PC as well. And you like that. See, the thing is, that is an assumption, right? It's a logical one. I agree. Where it's like, oh yeah, dude, Sony's consoles will do just fine if their single player exclusives drop on PC day one. It'll be fine. But will it? I mean, think about it. Like, what proof do we have? We don't. The only proof, if we're actually searching for it, is Microsoft, dude. And Microsoft is like, I'm not saying that the same exact thing would happen to Sony, but considering that's the only proof we currently have, if I were Sony, I would be like, yeah, no thanks. We're not risking that. Not now anyway. Not unless we absolutely have to. And that's why I try to remind people that's, and I get it, because it's like, this is why people are like, oh, so that makes you a console fanboy then, right? Or like a Sony fanboy, or like a pony or whatever. It's like, you just want to see PlayStation have some kind of stronghold or whatever. It's like, no, it's just that I guess the reason why I don't necessarily have a problem with it is just for the simple fact that I just don't play on PC. So it's like, if Sony says, hey, guess what? We're not putting our games on PC. We're going to keep them exclusive to console because it benefits us. Like, oh, okay. I guess I could be mad at you for that, Sony, but I don't really care because I play on PlayStation anyway. So, you know what I'm saying? So I could understand why like other people would be frustrated, but I guess I can see from the business perspective on Sony's side why they are likely not going to just say, rip the Band-Aid off, go day and date on PC. But to be clear, I feel like I always have to make this clear because there's always this ridiculous stuff that continually circulates, and it's just at some point just gets so tired and old where it's like, look, I can tell you right now, I don't just play on the PlayStation console at this point in time for the exclusives. I don't. Like, I will admit the exclusives are definitely what got me, back into. All right, hold on. Boss, I love you, man. Oh, you know what? Actually, this is okay. Boss, stay right where you are. I thought you were blocking the camera again. At this point in time, I play on the PlayStation console for more than just one reason, right? It's what I'm used to at this point. I have trophies tethered to it. I'm just totally engrossed in that ecosystem. So like, Sony's goal was achieved, at least for me, where it's like, you got me in, and now I'm here to stay. So it worked. I do have a digital library, not a large one, but I do have digital games on there. I have a whole physical games library. I buy the accessories for the PS5 console that I'm interested in. And yeah, it's the whole thing. So if Sony were to just say like, yeah, we're putting all of our games on PC, I'm not one of those people. Oh, I'm done. I'm going to go get a PC. Like, I think it's so crazy that people act like that, because it's like, dude, if Sony ever makes that decision, they don't care. I remember going through this with Xbox, where it was like when Microsoft back in like 2014 or 15 or 16, whenever, I think it was 16, when Microsoft was like, yo, we're going on PC, there was like this kind of like uproar where it's like, I'm getting rid of my Xbox, I'm done. And Microsoft was like, we don't care. I mean, they didn't say that, but it's like, you think that they didn't know that there were going to be some people who were no longer going to play on the Xbox? They knew that, but they were like, it's a risk we have to take. But there were also still plenty of people, granted, not as we see, like it's not looking that great for them, but there were still plenty of people that were like, hey, I'm still going to play on Xbox. That's what I prefer. We got actually get some Trismegistus with another 5-bomb. With another 5-bomb. Another 5 memberships gifted. Actually, my man, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that, dude. That's 10 memberships gifted. Boss, here, really quick. Let me, I'm gonna update the goal, but I'm gonna move it for now because Boss is just laying here, chilling. He's very happy. He's very happy about this treat. So, actually, thank you so much, man. You just brought us up to 36 members on the day. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thank you for continuing to show support to the community and to the channel. I really appreciate it. And look, it's like, would I feel like, man, I think Sony is maybe going to lose a portion of their identity by doing this? Yes. Yes, they would. If Sony went like full-blown PC, like, yes, they will lose a portion of their identity, in my opinion. Maybe not everybody would agree, but it would feel different permanently going forward. Would I be concerned about the future of the console? Yeah, I would be a little bit. I would be. I would say, man, I hope console continues to do well because it's where I prefer to play and I like it. And I know not everybody likes it. And, you know, a lot of people prefer PC, but I just don't want to see it like, you know, go away. I mean, look at what's the position that Microsoft is in. People who were fans of the Xbox console in 2024 were having meltdowns, man. And I get it. Like, I could sympathize with that because it's like, yeah, that sucks, dude. Like, especially if you're somebody who's been playing on Xbox for many years, like that's just how you like to game on the Xbox console. Seeing rumors and reports like get out of hand, where it's like, holy shit, are they like leaving the console market? And Microsoft had to like, come on, like, no, like calm down. Like, we're not leaving. We're staying. Like, we're making another one. And Microsoft has to kind of like, again, work this situation as like, our console isn't really that relevant anymore. People aren't really buying it. But we still want to make it available for that small group of people that still want it. I mean, I don't want to see that happen to PlayStation because the truth is, like, I'm not trying to be like console worse when I say this. If anything, I say this in a more concerning way. The Xbox console is on life support, dude. Like, the only reason it exists is because Microsoft deems it so. But the truth is, like, now that Microsoft is dabbling in possibly going third party, they've already embraced PC. They have Game Pass as their priority, and they've tried to put Game Pass in as many places as possible. It's like, dude, the console is so far away from being a priority for Microsoft that the only reason they're still going to do it is because it's like, well, it's still some money we can get. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to downplay it too much. Like, it's still making Microsoft some money, but it's like, it's in terms of the kind of money that Microsoft is trying to make. Yeah, let's go over here, boss, a little bit. And come on, dude, you're gonna get hair in my drink. In terms of the money that Microsoft is looking to make, it's not really, it's not really where they want it to be, not even close. So, it's one of these things where first you have to ask yourself how much it matters to you and what you would do. And then after that, you can evaluate the bigger picture and try to speculate on what the end results might be. But yeah, it's clear that Sony has some ideas in mind. And I think we're going to see those ideas. Oh, no. Oh, it's exactly what I feared, bro. Why am I saying bro? Boss, he got hair all in my coffee. I'm not trying to drink cat hair. I think I got it out though. One more. Hold on. You happy now? Dude, just massive. I got it all out, I think. But just massive clumps of cat hair in my coffee. Like, delicious. Maybe I should put it over here. No, hey, we're done now. It's off limits now, buddy. Don't look at me like that. He's making me nervous. I have this big cup of liquid IV over here, and he keeps getting dangerously close to it. Like, I'm getting very nervous he's going to knock it over. And dude, you want to see a nightmare situation unfold live on stream? It would be him knocking that cup over. Boss, I think you've overstayed your welcome at this point. I'm sorry, I'm not talking because, like, do you guys see what he's doing? Hold on, what am I missing here? Hellbound 1981! Hellbound, he does it. He's keeping the membership train rolling today. He drops another 5-bomb for you guys. He's clearly loving he's loving the fact that Boss is acting up. Hellbound, thank you so much, man. You just brought us up to 41, guys. We're sitting at 41 members now. So I gotta update this. Boss, please don't break that, dude. That's gonna hurt you. Easy, 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 easy. You're gonna break it. It's gonna snap. And it's gonna hurt you. I have to stop Boss from hurting himself. I really would love to know how much you guys do or do not enjoy this, because I get the feeling some of you really enjoy watching Boss just wreak havoc. Okay, hold on. Bro, you gotta stop. You gotta stop, man. It's gonna break. Calm yourself, Boss. Calm yourself. All right, so Hellbound, thank you so much for another 5-bomb, bro. We are 9 members away from hitting a second goal today. We're making our way to 50. Really appreciate the support you guys continue to show. So to wrap up this conversation so we can move on to the next topic, it started with Starfield, whether or not it's going to make its way to PS5. I think eventually it will. I think that it's not worth paying attention to, like, I have to add a caveat here. I was going to say it's not worth paying attention to rumors, but the reality is, at least for me, I'm probably going to continue to cover it. But I will say that it's likely going to make its way to PS5 at some point in time, and I don't think that would shock anybody. I wouldn't dunk on anybody, and I don't think anybody should be dunking on anybody if that happens. It's like Microsoft, again, they made it very clear things are changing for them, and it shouldn't necessarily shock anybody. But then that led us into a conversation, will Sony go day one on PC with all of their games? What's the likelihood of that? And, to basically just sum it up, I don't think it's necessarily likely. I think it's more possible than ever before, but I still think that Sony has a bunch of different things that they plan to do before they decide to do that. And I will say, I'm going to continue to say this. I'll say it until it doesn't happen or does happen, or if it, if something goes beyond it. They will experiment. I want to make that very clear. Like, at some point, we're going to see a game from Sony. I don't know which game it'll be, and that's the big question mark, but it's not going to be a multiplayer game. I don't know that it'll be a massive hit AAA game like the next God of War or Wolverine or something. I don't know that it'll be that, but we will see a single-player game, a smaller single-player game from Sony, and they will experiment by dropping it day one on PC to just see what happens, you know? And they'll take it from there. Saying Until Dawn. Is Until Dawn danged? Wait, hold on. Is it already? Wait, are we about to see that experiment? Oh, you know what? You might be right. Yeah, you know, I guess I didn't really count Until Dawn because it's a remaster, and I feel like I've kind of gotten used to this idea of like remasters being available on PC as well. The Venom game, yes, exactly. Maybe something like that. That to me would be a perfect game to experiment with. I spilled more coffee on my pants than I thought I did. I was like, what is that? Why is that wet? But yeah, I think Venom would be a perfect game to just say, you know what, let's just drop it day one on PC and PS5 and let's just see what happens. But then again, Sony might see that as a system seller. So yeah, I was like thinking like, yo, did Boss just pee on me or something, man? But no, he didn't. If he did, I'd be like, you know what, guys, I'm done. This is over. No, it's just I spilled coffee on myself without realizing it. All right, so I want to move on to the next topic. Irvin, you're saying a lot of people will pirate games if Sony goes day and date. I mean, yeah, that's obviously another risk that Sony is probably aware of. Another reason why they would maybe say, oh, well, you know, let's think about this first. All right, so guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button for me before we move on to the next topic. We're sitting at 140 likes. See if we can get to like 160, 170. I'd really appreciate that. The next topic in line talks about a developer claiming that PlayStation 5 exclusivity has helped their game, and certain things in their game were only made possible due to it being exclusive to PS5. So I want to read to you what's being said here and give my thoughts on this. Obviously, something that some people are, going to become a little bit argumentative about, but I think there's something that people might be missing here. Anyway, this is being reported by WCCF Tech. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth wouldn't have been the game it is if it wasn't a PlayStation 5 console exclusive, according to Yoshinori Kitase. Speaking with the Washington Post, the Final Fantasy series producer stated that much of the game's acclaim is thanks to its seamless world, which wouldn't have been possible without PlayStation 5 console exclusivity. Not having to worry about developing multiple game versions allowed the team to focus on building a seamless, densely populated world with diverse geography. Without exclusivity to a single platform, Kitase-san continued, the game design would have regressed, and the world wouldn't have been seamless. This is an interesting statement for sure, considering multi-platform games like Witcher 3, which also served as one of the major inspirations for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, do come with the same features seen in the second installment of the trilogy. Controversial comments aside, though, or in terms of exclusivity aside, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is an amazing entry in the series and a considerable step up over its predecessor in every possible way. And so, yeah, I've been seeing people talk about this, and I think there is a little bit of confusion here. Oh man, boss's hair is really making me itch. Sorry if the eye itching freaks anybody out, but oh my god, I think I'm like becoming more allergic to my cat over time. I think what some people are not keeping in mind here is he's very likely talking about PS4. I think that there are some people that, now to be clear, he does not clarify. He doesn't specifically say PS4. He doesn't say Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S. He just talks about PS5 exclusivity. And so, to me, I am interpreting what he's saying like, hey, we wouldn't have been able to do this with this game if it wasn't a PS5 exclusive, I'm assuming he's talking about PS4. And I just felt like I wanted to make this clear to begin with, because I do think there are people that read that and they're like, oh yeah, dude, this shit wouldn't be possible on Xbox. I don't know about that. Actually, you're saying, so glad Sweet Baby Inc. is getting exposed for the vile company it is. Dude, little side topic here. Yeah, I've been seeing more stuff about this Sweet Baby Inc. pop up, and holy shit. It's scary, dude. I'm always hesitant to like dogpile stuff like that, just because I'm like, all right, well, I need to know more before I, come to conclude. I already kind of had a little bit of an understanding of what Sweet Baby Inc. was like, but the thing that freaks me out. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. You're saying their GDC talk was god awful. Yeah, I saw this like 20-second clip of, I guess, the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., where she was like saying that basically what it boiled down to is she was saying like it's about terrifying people, terrifying marketing teams, where she's like, if you go to the higher ups at these companies and you say you want to put this in your game and put that in your game, and they say no, then what you do is you set up a meeting with the marketing team and you scare the shit out of them. Like, you terrify them. You basically tell them, like, this is what's going to happen to your game if you don't do this. And that's how you convince them. And I'm like, that is fucking insane. Like, that's insanity. And it's like, what kind of people, what kind of person, like, think about how that speaks to a person's character. Like, what kind of people do stuff like that? That's not a win. That's not a win at all. That shit was, yeah, man. I was like, yo, that's, and this is the company that all of these video game publishers are hiring to consult. Are you sure that's what, is that really what's, are you sure they're not being bullied and threatened? Yeah, it's like the cancel culture mentality. It's fucking toxic. That is so toxic. But I was seeing, here's what really disturbed me is some of the things that Sweet Baby Inc. was getting exposed for that actually I was like, oh my God, this is worse than I could have imagined. Is there were like, I don't know if it was at least one employee, but I think it's like multiple employees that were basically exposed for just being like flat out racists to white people. Like, I mean, like aggressively. And I saw this comment that somebody, like, I guess they quote tweeted. It was under a Kotaku article, where this Kotaku article was written. And it said, I don't have everything up in front of me, so forgive me. I'm trying my best. But to paraphrase the title of the article, it was something like gamers are mad at Sweet Baby Inc., but it's not like it's not what you think type situation. Actually, I should probably just look it up. I don't want to. Okay, here we go. Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what some gamers think it does. That's the title of the article for Kotaku, and they're like getting a lot of heat right now because Sweet Baby Inc. is being exposed for a lot of shit, and this just kind of comes off as like damage control and whatever. But I saw that I got it, dude. I have to see if I can find this because it was it was like one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Give me a moment. Let me. Yeah, I want to get my shit straight here. So. The woman, I think it's a woman, Alyssa Mercante, I spoke to the team at Sweet Baby and infiltrated the Discord group, rallying against them to try and paint a clear picture of what the F is going on. I got to find the article. Yeah, so this person, I want to make sure this is the person who wrote the article. There's a specific reason I'm saying this. So yes, this is the person that works at Kotaku who wrote the article. And as we just read there, she said she like infiltrated the Discord group that's against it and all that shit. She replied to somebody. And this is what she said. This is what she said. Hi, you can't be racist against white people. Thanks for tuning in. And she got community noted. And the community note reads, racism is not limited to marginalized or minority races / ethnic groups. It is simply the unfair treatment of people who belong to a different / specific race, which can in fact include white people. And it's just like, this is, to be clear, what people are calling Sweet Baby Inc. out for, what they're being exposed for, is there are apparently some people who work at that company, who either have worked or currently work at this company, that were being aggressively, outwardly racist to like white people. And they're now getting called out for that. Like, you're being fucking racist. You know, like, it doesn't matter that they're white. It's you're being racist. And people were losing their minds because they're like, these are the people that these companies are hiring. And I was like, dude, this is like, I'm just like, how did we get here, people? Like, how did we get here? Shit is just, it's vile, man. It's like, listen, all you need to do is the name of the company, Sweet Baby Inc. What the fuck kind of name is that, dude? What? What kind of name is that? That's a scary name, first of all. And it turns out some of the people that are running that company are just as scary as you would think. So, maybe this is a lot. You know what's crazy too is where shit gets even. No, it doesn't. Oh, it does. Member goal. There we go, guys. Mrs. MB Jesus pointed out that my member goal actually says member goal. We'll keep it. Let's hit that member goal, guys. Sorry though, where things get even more wild with the whole Sweet Baby Inc. thing is people are also discovering that some individuals who work for Sweet Baby Inc. have ties to people like Anita Sarkeesian and there's another person, I don't remember their name, but people who were tied to like the whole Gamergate thing, and essentially saying that this is basically becoming like a Gamergate 2.0, and yeah, it does seem like that's what's beginning to happen here, and I think it's getting a bit out of hand. Maybe video game development teams and whatnot, they should be a little bit more careful, I would say, about who they want to hire to consult their stories and whatnot. But oh geez, what's Gamergate? You're gonna have to look it up, man. I'm not giving a whole lesson on what Gamergate is. Just YouTube it. It's been studied for years. You guys are saying don't buy the games, speak with your wallet. Yeah, it's the best thing you can do. There's like that Steam curator list that was created basically to list any games that Sweet Baby Inc. was involved with. So, that's, I guess, could be a reference point. Zoe Quinn, was that her name? Yeah. So, yeah, look, I'm not going to continue going on about this because this wasn't necessarily a topic that I planned to discuss, but I want to just say this, and this is a broad statement. I'm not trying to get involved in culture wars or anything. It's hard not to an extent, because it just feels like it's infiltrating literally everything. But I will just make my stance known once again that the way I think these things should work is very simple. When a video game development team decides that they want to make a game and they want to tell a story in that game, they should be allowed to just tell the story that they want to tell. They should, the writers of that game should just be allowed to just make what they want, and then we as the market can decide if we like it or not. And we can critique it when it's out. I don't believe that there should be consultation companies out there that are like, let us help you tweak your story. Because at that point, it's like you kind of just ruined it, because it's no longer the original vision that the development team had for said story. And it is especially concerning when you are beginning to see people who are affiliated with a company that is altering these stories. It turns out they also have their own agendas. And they were or are still involved very much so in the culture wars. And this is exactly why I said that I don't want to be involved in the culture wars, because the shit is annoying as fuck. But when it is very clearly beginning to make its way into the things that we're trying to enjoy, usually to escape from the bullshit, and they're trying to put more bullshit into it, it's like, yeah, let's just leave that out. Let's just leave that out. You're saying you've never heard of Sweet Baby Inc. before the BS controversy? Yeah, it seems like it all kind of came to a head with Spider-Man 2. And it really exploded recently. And I think it's because they kind of went under the radar, to be honest. They were just kind of like this low-flying consultancy, group that was slowly getting involved with like almost, I don't say all, but a lot of major AAA games and publishers. So, well, we'll see what ends up happening, but we have Josh Z here with a $10 super chat. Josh, thank you so much, man. You're saying here, I think Katase is right. Yeah, I got way off topic. Thanks a lot, actually. No, I'm just kidding. You're saying, I think Katase is right that the Rebirth seamlessness would not be possible if Square Enix had to focus on other platforms. Not that the game couldn't run on Xbox, but I don't think the game would feel so alive. Yeah, like that's the thing, man, is when I hear comments like this, it would definitely be nice to get explicit clarification of like, so do you mean Xbox? Do you mean PS4? Do you mean both? There is no doubt that if Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had to be developed on the Xbox consoles as well, they would have had to take the Series S into account. And maybe that wouldn't have been that big of a problem, but I guess in the name of just trying to not stoke the console war flames, right? I am under the assumption that he's probably talking more so about PS4 because Remake was a PS4 game, and when you think about, well, okay, Rebirth is PS5, it's not on PS4. It would have been, so look, I'll say this real quick. We know that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a timed exclusive for 3 months until May. And the assumption is that, okay, it's going to release on PC in May. I don't think this is going to happen, but wouldn't it be a hell of a thing if they were like, and here's the PS4 version, by the way, because if I don't think that, again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think if they released the PS4 version 3 months later, it would contradict a lot of what they've said about the game so far. But maybe we'll have a clear picture of this, these comments, a clear picture of the exclusivity and how it helped their game and its seamlessness. I mean, I don't doubt it. I do think that when you consider, like, one of the things that Mark Cerny did talk about with the PS5 is, look, it's not just the speed of the SSD, it's the way all the parts work together inside of the PS5, the IO throughput, how if a developer can really try to take advantage of that, it can make it exactly like what they're talking about here. Like, you can create a very seamless world. And so my guess is like what you're saying here, Josh, is you're saying it's not that it wouldn't have been possible. It wouldn't have been possible on Xbox. I think I'm in agreement. It would have been possible on Xbox, but it probably would come down to the same thing it always does, where it's like, it would probably take a lot more optimization, where it's like, okay, we need to get this game running in the same exact way on the Xbox Series X and the S. So we really got to figure that out. I'll tell you, man, every time we hear Square Enix talk about making these Final Fantasy games for PlayStation 5, they always seem to kind of say how, like, we kind of like this, like, we do kind of like just being able to focus on one platform. And you think about Final Fantasy 16, I mean, when is Final Fantasy 16 coming to PC? Did it come out already? Did Final Fantasy 16 come out for PC yet? When is FF16 coming to PC? 2024. Even though Final Fantasy 16's exclusivity deal with Sony is about to run out in late December, the PC version of the game is still without a concrete release date and almost certainly won't be coming out until 2024 at the earliest. Okay, so yeah, this is where, like, that's pretty important, I think, to highlight, because a lot of people thought that the director of Final Fantasy 16 was kind of bullshitting back in, like, April and May, or maybe it was before that, maybe like March, maybe this time last year, where he was basically saying, like, yeah, we're going to need, like, a lot more time to optimize this game for PC. And he was talking about this exact thing in a slightly different way, about how, like, it's been nice just having to make it for PS5 because it's sped up development significantly. Like, I think he even went on record, I'm paraphrasing it a little bit, but he basically said that if we had to make this for PC at the same time, or like multi-platform, this game would need, like, probably another year or longer. And a lot of people were, like, frustrated because they're like, dude, that's bullshit. That's marketing PR. That's Sony's money talking. And it's like, dude, here we are in March of 2024. It's like, no, he was not kidding. Like, they are still working on the PC version. So it does seem to me like whatever their development pipeline is for the Final Fantasy games, the big ones coming out recently, it seems like they really have in some way benefited from only having to worry about the PS5 version. And so it's like, we kind of have these conversations like, are exclusives good? Are they bad? I think there's an argument to be made in both cases. I think a lot of consumers are like, no, there shouldn't be exclusives. We want to play these games everywhere. But on the other hand, it's like, well, if there is any benefit to be found, maybe this is where it lies. Maybe it lies in the fact that some development teams are like, look, this does make shit easier for us. Like, it's a lot less stressful. One kit, one console, one spec, faster game development, easier game development, And we got Matt Fu coming in out of nowhere. It's always so funny, Matt, when you drop membership gifts, because I'm always reminded of the Astrobot. I like seeing Astro, man. Matt Fu is just, I don't know who, I don't know what type of person you are, but I just see your avatar. I'm like, he must be a pretty happy, chill guy, you know, just sitting there waving, hey, MBG, here's 10 membership gifts. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Matt just dropped a 10 bomb on us. He's making me want another Astro game, which I do hope we see this year. So Matt just crushed the goal, dude. He comes in, he drops a 10 bomb. We are now sitting at 51 members. You guys are destroying it today. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. I have to correct the member goal. Let's see here. And we are good to go. So there we go. Second goal crushed, 51 members. And as I say that, we got Exley Get Some Trismegistus following up Matt Fu's 10 bomb with another 5 bomb. Exley drops 5 more gifts for you guys, basically a 15 bomb combined, bringing us up to 56 members on the day. This community gets it done, dude. You guys are doing some heavy lifting today. I'm going to owe you guys some reps, clearly, now that we passed the 50 mark. Boss got his snacks. Towards the end of the stream, I'll give you some reps. Listen to some Metal Gear or metal, some metal music, whatever you guys prefer. Or maybe at that point, whatever I prefer. But we'll get some reps in. So, Exley, thank you so much. Matt, really appreciate the consistent support you guys show. Thank you so much. And we have Dark Horse with a super chat here. Thank you, Dark Horse. You're saying Rebirth is an amazing game. However, it is very concerning how bad Rebirth is selling right now in Japan. And overall, sales is doing worse than FF16. Let me look this up. I haven't come across anything. Hold on. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sales may be lagging behind Remake. That was from 2 days ago from Game Rant. The bullet points here are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth praised for its engaging plot and playable content, trails in sales behind its predecessor in UK physical sales. Speculation for the lower physical sales includes a decline in physical media purchases and a smaller PS5 player base than on PS4 when FF7 Remake was released. Positive reviews may lead to increased sales for Rebirth once digital data is factored in. And I'm looking for the specific numbers here. Christopher Dring, in terms of UK box sales, FF7 Rebirth's opening week is down nearly 30% over the launch of the previous game. The first game came out during the peak of COVID lockdowns. Fascinating. So, and I guess you mentioned sales in Japan. Let me see. I got Push Square here. Japan sales charts, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth tops, but doesn't even come close to Remake. Let me see if I can. We've said it once and we'll say it again. Direct sequels are a harder sell than most people realize. The latest Japanese sales numbers are in, and FF7 Rebirth is a big talking point. Unsurprisingly, the RPG has immediately topped the charts with 263,000 copies sold. But that total, which may seem fairly impressive at first, puts the game well behind the opening figures of its predecessor Remake. When the game first launched in 2020 for PS4, it managed to move a whopping 703,000 units in Japan. Of course, there is additional context to consider here. Since Remake was releasing during the height of the pandemic, people were craving at-home craving at-home entertainment, but there's no getting around the fact that Rebirth has fallen massively short, nearing those numbers. Even when taking overall console sales into account, we need to remember that the PS4 wasn't what you'd call hugely popular in Japan. By the time Remake came out, the last-gen system was sitting at 9 million units or so, sold over the course of 7 years. The PS5 currently tops 5 million in 3 years. Interesting. So all right, here's the thing, Dark Horse. I'm not convinced that FF7's sales are problematic. Like, look, I'm not trying to come off as defensive either, because it's just like, listen, we'll find out, We'll we'll find out together. But the biggest factor here for me, there are two factors. The two biggest factors are, number one, yeah, physical media sales are down, generally speaking, and that seems to be the only thing we actually have data for. Although I don't know if the situation in Japan, I don't know if that might be a little bit different. But for me, it has to be the install base, dude. Right? Like, it has to be, because when Final Fantasy VII Remake launched, it launched in, I think it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was 2020. And I think it was like April or May of 2020. I want to get my facts straight here. By March 31st, 2020, 110.4 million PS4s were sold. So, listen, if it's like, hey, Remake sold better, well, we are comparing a install base of 50 million, roughly, for PS5, and you stack that up against an install base that's over double with 110 million. Plus, again, during the COVID lockdowns, I think it's pretty obvious that. But here's the real question, though. Like, to be honest, what I'm saying doesn't actually matter. And the reason I say that is because the only question that really matters is, what are Square Enix's expectations? The question is not, is it selling poor? Do we think it's selling poor based on that context, based on that information? The question is, does Square Enix consider that when they're projecting their sales, right? Is Square Enix throwing a fit right now, being like, how is this not doing better than Remake? If they were, you would think somebody there would be smart enough to realize, like, I mean, you do realize, like, you're selling at less than half the install base. So maybe it's to be expected. And it's not during COVID, and physical sales are down. Yeah, we don't have the digital data. I think that kind of messes everything up, to be completely honest. But that's the only question that matters. Sony obviously paid for this game to be exclusive to the PS5. Sony obviously got behind this game. They probably funded a portion, if not the entire marketing cycle. So obviously Sony has a vested interest here. Sony is, I think the main goal of a game like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is to move PS5 units and do so for the remainder of the generation. I would assume. Anyway, maybe this explains exactly why it's only exclusive to the PS5 for 3 months, right? Maybe it's because they knew this thing's not going to sell as well. There are multiple factors working against it compared to Remake. So in order to maybe make up for that and ensure its success, we're just going to keep it 3 months on PS5, and then we'll release it on PC right after those 3 months. But it'll be interesting because FF7 Part 3, FF7 Remake Part 3, right now it seems like it's going to be coming out by the time the PlayStation 6 launches. So maybe like 2028, give or take. But you know for a fact, it'll be a cross-gen game. So when Part 3 comes out, it will also launch on the PS4. It could basically be a repeat of FF7 Remake, where it launches the same year as the PlayStation 6, but it will be cross-gen. And if not cross-gen, it will be maybe it'll just be a PS5 game. And you have to assume that by that point, the PS5 would have sold at around 100 million units, if not more. I think it would be interesting to see how that plays out, because I do feel like it maybe is a little unfair to compare the sales of Rebirth to Remake when you consider the major difference. Do you get what I'm saying? We're like, the third part of Final Fantasy VII Remake seems like it's going to follow the same trajectory as Remake did. It's going to launch at the end of the console lifecycle to a massive install base. Hopefully there won't be another pandemic though, right? Or lockdowns. I think comparing that data would be more in line than what we're seeing now. But I don't know. Did I say PS4? My bad. I meant PS5. Yeah, dude, they got to release Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 for PS4. That's what they got to do. Make a PS3 version while you're at it. Josh Z with another $10 chat here saying, Remake was released at the very beginning of COVID-19. Its sales are going to be inflated compared to Rebirth, and besides, digital sales have to be taken into account before we judge sales data. Yeah, so I'm in agreement, Josh. What I would say is that I think it's okay to look at the data we're getting right now and say, oh, well, okay, it's not doing as good. But I think you should be careful to judge the game's performance when you consider all the factors at play here. And so what I would like to hear is from Square Enix themselves. I would like to know if they're going to come out and announce, like, we're happy to announce that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has sold 3 million copies or something like that, you know? If we don't hear anything, then I would be a little bit worried. Like, oh, okay. Because we even heard about, we got sales data for FF16. And I just, what's also crazy to me is, like, I think people do sometimes struggle to realize that, like, not every game needs to be like a 7, 8, 9, 10 million seller to be considered like a success. I think that is flawed thinking. But I mean, should Rebirth be the type of title to be able to break 10 million? I mean, it feels like it should be at some point, but maybe not. And maybe that's okay, because I don't know, man. Like, some people, I think they just and I get why. It's like, oh, if a game doesn't sell 10 million, then it's a failure. It's like, no, not necessarily. You're saying Final Fantasy VII Remake should have broke 10 million? Yeah, but it didn't. So what does that mean? To be clear, I don't think that's because of PlayStation exclusivity. I mean, could it have broken 10 million if it launched on Xbox? I don't know about that one. It would have had to have sold, what, like 3 million copies? I don't think that's happening on Xbox. Maybe, but I don't think so. But I get what you're saying. You would, I mean, I do agree with that. Like, FF7 Remake in general feels like a game that, like, surely that should have hit 10 million. But you think Square's losing on these exclusivity deals? I'll tell you this right now. We will have our answer with part 3 of the remake. Because check this out. Arnie Vesper, you're saying I'm way behind, but steadily traversing the stream. I forget that sometimes, man, that some people are like way behind on the stream. It's all good. So check this out. I have another article here, from PlayStation Lifestyle. Here's the original story. The first 2 games in the Final Fantasy VII trilogy are unlikely to make their way to Xbox consoles. It has emerged that Sony made a deal with Square Enix for Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth to be PlayStation console exclusives. The reason for this agreement was that the Final Fantasy franchise and the original Final Fantasy VII game itself was one of the primary pillars on PlayStation consoles. Sony Interactive Entertainment Vice President of Second and Third Party Content Ventures and Strategic Initiatives, Christian Svensson, said that the console exclusivity was mutually desired by Sony and Square Enix when the Final Fantasy VII trilogy began development. However, the two companies had different reasons for the agreement. Svensson told the Washington Post that Sony wanted to relive the game's importance on modern-day consoles. During the original PlayStation days, Sony had a few franchises of its own, so it sought to win the hearts and minds of key third-party developers like Square. This attitude to third-party partnerships is ingrained in our DNA to this day and connects directly to how we've worked together on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Bearing in mind that Sony has already said it won't be releasing any new major existing franchise titles before April 2025, Rebirth will be one of the main games filling that void. Meanwhile, Square Enix felt that Rebirth's fantasy world wouldn't have been possible. Well, we already read that part. But anyway, it says here, now development is moving on to the third part of the trilogy, and the team has already made progress on the script. It says, with any luck, the game will be out by 2028, but whether that's on PS5, or next-gen PlayStation 6 remains to be seen. But there's an update to this. The Washington Post has since altered its article to clarify that Sony never said the full trilogy was console exclusive on PlayStation. However, Rebirth and Remake will remain exclusive for now. Now, this is very important because this was like one of the biggest things that people walked away with from this Washington Post article is people, I guess the way it was worded, people walked away from that Washington Post article. It's like, oh, Sony confirmed that the third game of the trilogy will be PlayStation exclusive. And I think it was Gene Park of the Washington Post. He had to clarify that like that's not how it was said to him. And I guess it was just written in a way that, or he wrote it in a way that he made it sound like that's what was said. So he clarified that. Now, what do we think? Do we think that like it's not going to be, it is going to be? I'll tell you this. I think it boils down to whether or not this is actually a good or bad deal for Square and Sony. Because here's what I think people need to realize is that it's not, if this is a bad deal, it's not just a bad deal for Square. To be clear, Sony's paying for this, dude. Like Sony has the same prerogative as Square, which is we want to sell a lot of copies of this game on the PlayStation console. That's exactly what Square wants to do as well. So a lot of people, or at least some people, I don't know if it's a lot, but some people have been thinking that the partnership between Sony and Square, specifically with the Final Fantasy games, is actually not doing that well. And that it's just not a smart thing. If that's true, Part 3 will not be exclusive. It's that simple. It is that simple. When, it's pretty clear that, Sony has altered the deal, so to speak, with Square. But I have to imagine that there are clauses in place that if certain numbers and metrics are not met, then the deal's off, because it can, if it really is that bad, like it can become harmful for both companies involved. And that's obviously the last thing either of them want to see happen. So I would say that we will find out if Part 3, whenever it's announced, I don't know when it will be announced, but whenever Part 3 is announced, if it's exclusive to PlayStation, then your answer's clear as day. Like this partnership is clearly good for both Sony and Square. That's why they're continuing it. If the partnership is bad and not leading to the results that they want or expect, they will end it. So we'll see. MBG, the question is, did they expect Rebirth to sell better or worse than 16? It has to be better. Surely they are expecting Rebirth to sell better than 16. And if it does, dude, if Rebirth didn't sell, like at this point is not selling better than 16, yeah, I think Square and Sony would both be kind of panicking, being like, what the fuck? Because 16 is basically like a new IP. It's not a new IP, but I mean, it's a harder sell. Less install base, new characters, new game, no nostalgia factor. You're saying it's not though? I don't think we have. Do we have any proof of that it's not selling better? And you're saying Well, hold on. Where are you guys getting this from? Saying that it's not selling better than 16. Where are you getting that from? It's not selling as good as Remake. That we know. But 16. Zubitech? I'll go check. Yeah, that would be concerning. I won't lie about that. That would definitely be concerning. Let me see if I can find this. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes in at number 1 in the Japan charts. Selling almost 300K in 7 days. Second biggest retail launch on PS5 yet. Hold on, I'm trying to... Sorry, I'm trying to just see where... No, the biggest game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the generation for the Japanese market from Japanese developers. It is extremely clear that the market doesn't react to PlayStation or PlayStation's Japanese games. There's no excuse for this type of performance. Hugely disappointing. So, okay, well, at least here, Zubitech is kind of pointing out that, you know, this game, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, should be hugely appealing to the Japanese market, and it's like not, for whatever reason. I'm not seeing anything here about Final Fantasy 16. It has to be doing better than 16, dude. Like, there's no way it wouldn't be. I haven't seen anybody saying that it's... Well, hold on. You know what? Let me check Push Square again, because they had the list of... Is that what you guys are talking about? In Japan? All right, let me check one more time. Let me look at the charts one more time. I was too quick to... Surprised it's doing worse than 16. Where? Oh, okay. Fuck. All right. All right. I totally missed this. The last line. Rebirth is also tracking behind Final Fantasy 16, a fellow PS5 exclusive, which hit 336,000 sales at release. This is for Japan, by the way. So, in terms of, you know, just talking about look, then that begs the question, is it tracking behind 16 in the US, in the UK, in other territories? If the answer is yes, that is hugely concerning. I think so. That's like, oh, that's not good. So in Japan, like, I don't know what the hell's going on with I don't know. That is surprising to me, dude. Remake sold fantastic in Japan. 16 sold pretty good at 336K, but now Rebirth is selling worse than 16 in Japan. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, dude. That is actually genuinely strange. But we'll have to wait till we get more data from other territories and regions. All right, so I want to move on to the next topic here, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button. We're sitting at 192 likes. We're on the cusp of crushing 200 likes. I'd really appreciate that, guys. We have the supposed insider known as Silk Knight, who just appeared out of nowhere To give you a little bit of context, the reason why this person is being considered an insider is because they were the first person to announce when, I think it was like about a week and a half before, but they were the first person to announce when Ghost of Tsushima's PC version would be announced, and they were correct about that. So now people believe that this person is an insider or might have inside information. Take it with a massive grain of salt, okay? But he says, or they say, I don't know, they say, I understand that some people may feel demotivated by the announcement of some remasters and remakes, but keep in mind that these developments are undergoing a very lengthy process and it's necessary to shake things up a bit. Sony has yet to stop their remaster machine, and currently there are a couple of remakes in the pipeline. However, 2025 is shaping up to be a significant year for the PlayStation brand. And he answers a couple of questions here. One of the questions he answers is somebody was asking, is there anything happening with a Killzone or Resistance remake? And he just says no. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody who's hoping for something Killzone or Resistance related. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Something else I want to say really quick. And this has caused people to believe that this person is not an insider and they're a liar. Okay? And yeah, I mean, look, this person could just have gotten lucky. I want to make that clear. They said, I want to clarify that I'm not the person who mentioned the purchase of ArrowHead by Sony. I don't belong to any gaming forum or any other group related to the industry. That's not going to happen. I guess he's referencing that he's not going to be part of any group because he says Sony has had plans to acquire ArrowHead for a while, and considering that Helldivers 2 sales are close to surpassing 10 million units, I imagine that will go through. So that has led people to believe that this person cannot actually be an insider because that's the question. Is like he's claiming that Helldivers 2 is about to surpass 10 million units sold. Do we believe that? 10 fucking million units? I think a lot of people are like, no way. You're saying the CEO debunked it? What did he debunk the 10 million sold? If he debunked the 10 million sold, then that's significant. If you're talking about the acquisition, well, yeah, okay. So if you're talking about the acquisition, the CEO did say that, like, let me, hold on. Let's see if I can, I don't know if I can find it. Yeah, he debunked the rumor that they were going to get acquired, but I want to read it word for word. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to find it though. He replies to a lot of people. Okay, yeah. So this person said here, this on March 5th, they said this should happen, but it would be stupid of them to announce this very soon after laying off 900 people recently. And the person posted a picture of PlayStation Studios ArrowHead, welcome to the family. And he said, this is the first I'm hearing of this, and that's a good indication that it's fake. Also, that's a very old logo. So, you know, he replied to somebody else who reposted the same thing, and he said, this is fake unless I've missed something. Also, a really shitty old logo from 2008 when we just started the studio. That's so funny. He's shitting on his own logo, bro. We got Angry Whale Watcher keeping the membership train rolling along today. Angry Whale Watcher, dude, thank you so much for gifting a membership.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bringing us up to 57 members. So 3 away from hitting 60. Thank you for that, buddy. Magnum Gaming saying Bluepoint's CEO also had denied their acquisition. Yes. Look, I'm not trying to get conspiratorial. It's not about that, but it's worth noting that he didn't say we're not getting acquired. He didn't say we're going to remain independent. He just simply said, I haven't heard, like, this isn't true. We have not been acquired. Because I think this is where people sometimes don't quite realize, like, Arrowhead probably want to be acquired, dude. Like, do you know how rich they will get? Like, don't get me wrong, they're already probably rich now, but it's like their value just shot up. So, like, yeah, dude, they're gonna get offers, and those offers are probably gonna be hard to pass up on. So he's smart to not say, we're not going to be acquired. We don't want to get acquired. We want to be independent. Maybe he will announce that. But he's just simply replying to people who are posting logos, like saying, welcome to the family, saying that hasn't happened. Like, that's not true. Basically trying to make sure that people don't start running with, oh, Arrowhead was acquired. But I will say, dude, like, if you're Sony, you're dumb to not make a huge play for Arrowhead. I'm sorry. Like, you bought all these other no-name studios. You buy, and no offense to them, because maybe they'll be fantastic, but you buy Firewalk, you buy Haven, Bungie isn't a no-name, but you buy all these studios, you buy Firesprite, but the one studio that has a massive hit game for you that's clearly going to be a successful live service, like, you don't buy them, or at least make a play. It makes zero sense to me. And I get it. Would it look bad after laying people off? Yeah, but that's where I think people just don't kind of they don't fully understand where it's like, look, man, there's a difference between buying an established, successful team that is profitable, like right now, right? That has just, exploded, essentially. There's a difference between that and laying off people from teams that you built these teams, you hired these teams, you tasked them to make these certain games, and then you're like, this isn't working. There's just a complete difference there. I mean, could Sony could Arrowhead hire some of these people? Yes, it's worth noting. I think the CEO of Arrowhead, during the day that Sony announced the layoffs, he said that, hey, we are looking to hire. So if you got laid off, maybe apply. But I just think it's one of these things where Sony's not going to let, at least in my opinion, they wouldn't let the maybe negative image of, okay, we had to lay off 900 people across all different studios and disciplines. They're not going to say, well, it'll look bad if we acquire Arrowhead. Dude, it's business. They're not going to give a shit. Like, if they want to acquire Arrowhead, they're going to fucking acquire them. As long as Arrowhead wants to be acquired. Listen, is it possible that Arrowhead's like, we're solo, bro. Like, we're independent? Yes. However, keep in mind, and this is important. Exactly. Sony owns Helldivers, dude. So, if you're Arrowhead, like, you have legitimate incentive to just be like, you know what, maybe we should just take the offer. They own the IP anyway, and this will just make us richer, and we won't have to worry at all. We'll have even more support. That's my guess. But my whole thing is, like, the 10 million sales. No way, right? Like, I don't know. Like, when I see just how popular the game is, when I see just how popular Helldivers has become, and how like it's everywhere, dude. It's everywhere. It's not difficult for me to believe that it may have sold 10 million because it's only a $40 game. But if they did, they would have announced that, right? That's the thing that gets me is like, if you sell 10 million, you announce that shit. You don't hide that, right? Tall 133 dude. Remember for 8 months, you're saying MBG almost 1 million subs. Woot woot. And then you corrected yourself saying, oops, I mean 100K. Just around the corner, my man. Yeah, could you imagine us having 1 million subs? That'd be insane. But I appreciate. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, dude, I don't know. I mean, people always give me all these suggestions about how to grow the channel, and they're probably not wrong. But it's just like what I've noticed is that people. I think once people realize that I'm mostly a streaming channel now, I just don't think that's for everybody. Growing a channel while streaming is the slowest way to grow. But I still do try to make videos. It's tough though, because again, man, I gain new subs from making videos, but then they are like, oh, but you stream a lot and I don't really care about that. And then they unsub because they're like, yeah, I'm not interested in the stream. But this is where all the membership stuff exists. I've thought about making a second channel just for videos, just for people who want videos. And I might still do that. I don't know. But that's tough though, because it's like, release a video to maybe 1,000 people or 2,000 people versus release a video to 99,000 people that are subscribed. You see what I'm saying? It's such a weird trade-off. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird predicament I find myself in, but I don't know when we're going to get to 100K. At the rate we're going, I don't think we're ever going to get to 100K. 99K is where we stop, baby. That's where we stop. Maybe we go back down. I don't know. What's MBG Plus for then? Well, that's the thing is right now, dude, MBG Plus could change, to be clear. Like we almost have 1,000 subscribers over there. Right now, I'm just uploading clips and shorts. I'll be uploading a couple of like funny boss shorts that Devil Shooter made. But it could change in the future. Like if this if this channel just becomes a streaming only channel, I mean, that's, a lot of people kind of view it like that already. I could tell people like, hey, if you want videos from me, whether they're news videos, reaction videos, whatever, that's where they'll, you can subscribe to that channel so you don't have to have the streaming stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. Upload cooking with MBG. Yeah, that'd be real great. The developer menu of Spider-Man 2 lists an arc of DLC. Oh my, dude, how does Insomniac fuck this up that bad? How do they mess that up? That's funny, dude. I need a Helldivers moment. All right, let me see here. So, just getting back to what the supposed insider had to say, again, they basically confirmed that Sony has quite a few different remakes and remasters in the pipeline. I'm more interested in the remakes than the remasters potentially, because the remakes are the ones that sound like they have a lot going into it. I'll tell you right now, here's what I think is going to happen. I'm just saying, man, I don't know if this is going to piss people off. I don't think it'll matter, because I think Sony's going to fucking say we're doing it anyway. And I think more people will be excited for it than we realize. I think we're going to get an Uncharted 1 remake. I think we're going to get a God of War 1 remake. I think this is what we're going to get. Are we going to get a MotorStorm? I think we could get a MotorStorm. There was a rumor that MotorStorm is in the works, but I don't know if that's going to turn true or not. I think, we're going to get like a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. Eric with the timeout for the triple spam. Oh man. What happened to Lucid? Yeah, I don't think they're Yeah, I don't think Lucid is really. I think they're a support studio now. Basically, our boss's video is going to be on MBG Plus. Yeah, but yeah, dude, I do think that. Here's the thing that fascinates me the most, though, about what this insider's saying, supposed insider. He's saying that 2025 is poised to be like a very important year. Like it's shaping up to be a very important, significant year for PlayStation. And I'm telling you guys, I am so fucking interested. As you know, I know I've been telling you guys this, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I can't help it. I am so interested in how the second half of the PS5 generation is going to play out, especially knowing that Jim Ryan is out. We're getting a new CEO in. We got all these projects that are cooking behind the scenes. We haven't seen a single glimpse of any of them except for Wolverine, right? Like, I am dying to know. Like, here's the question I have. Is the second half of the PS5 generation going to match the PS4 or be better? Dude, the potential is there. I know there are people who hate PlayStation fans, who hate people who are, you know, really into the PlayStation fan base and get excited, into the PlayStation ecosystem and get excited about this shit. But the potential is there, dude. I know there are people who get angry at that because it's like impossible. Impossible. How could Sony do good? Dude, it depends. I mean, look, I don't want to get ahead of my skis here, so to speak, but what's this saying? Breaking news. Millions of PlayStation fans are seeing that some of their digital licenses are missing for their games and they cannot play them currently in their library. People should check. This is why you shouldn't buy our games digitally, people. Well. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, that obviously, yeah, that's you should buy physical, but I haven't heard of this. It has to be some kind of bug or something that Sony's going to have to fix. I'm trying to see if I can find anything on it. I don't see anything, actually, which is weird. Yeah, I would assume if that's a problem you're running into, though, that's very likely a bug that they're gonna have to fix or some shit. But buy your games physical, man. Buy your games physical. Dale says every single game I own is physical. Good shit, bro. But yeah, I mean, I think Sony is poised to kill it. Hopefully, the second half of this gen, man. I mean, of course, 2024 might end up ultimately being a weaker year. Not in terms of shows, but, you know, they already kind of made it clear, like, yeah, we're still working on shit. We're still working on it. But let's go down the list here. It's that time again, people. It's that time again. Let's go down the list. Ben Studio, new IP. This new IP will release before the PlayStation 6. So whatever this new IP from Ben Studio is, again, their last game was Days Gone. That's coming. Tall133 dude with the $2 super chat, fifth time super chatting, saying, I hope Fair Games is stacked with cheaters. Irony. Yeah, that would be quite ironic, wouldn't it? I don't think so, though. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, man. Bluepoint Games. Bluepoint Games has been working on a new game since 2020. So we're going to get another Bluepoint Games title before the end of this gen. Firesprite. Firesprite seems to be in some trouble, but they do apparently have a horror game in development. Assuming that they're able to get their shit together, we'll see that game probably launch before the end of this gen. Firewalk Studios with Concord. Concord is set to launch this year, so we'll find out if Concord's going to be any good or not. We also have, let's see, we have Guerrilla Games. Apparently Guerrilla Games, we're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see Horizon 3. I don't know. Could we see Horizon 3 before the end of this gen? I mean, think about it. Like, Horizon Forbidden West came out in 2022. Next gen isn't going to start until 2028. So if we do get Horizon 3 before the end of this gen, I think it'll come at the very tail end. Like, it could be like a cross-gen game. But yeah, we will get the online Horizon game. We have Haven Studios. We know that they're working on Fair Games. That's going to come out before the end of this gen. Housemarque has been working on a new IP. I think a lot of people forget about this. It's understandable. We haven't heard from Housemarque in a while, but ever since Returnal shipped in 2021, they've been working on a brand new AAA IP. We will get that game before the end of this generation, assuming none of these games get completely rebooted, which is a possibility. If none of them get completely rebooted or canceled and they have to start over, then I'm assuming these are games we're going to see before the end of the gen. Insomniac Games, well, we know we're getting a Venom game in 2025 and we're getting Wolverine in 2026 if everything goes according to plan. London Studio, rest in peace. Unfortunately, dude, I don't mean to laugh, but it's like, man, they're still listed here. That's sad. Media Molecule. Media Molecule is one of the only teams that I don't think we're going to hear from this gen. Like, I don't think we're going to hear from Media Molecule until next gen. I just get that feeling for some reason. Naughty Dog. Yeah, we have to get a new Naughty Dog game before the end of the gen. It's impossible we don't. That would be unacceptable. We have to get a new game from Naughty Dog before the end of this gen. We have Neon Koi. God, I totally forgot about this studio. They're making a AAA mobile game for Sony. We'll see. Nixus Software, they're doing PC ports. Polyphony Digital. I don't think we'll hear from Polyphony Digital again in terms of a new game release until the PlayStation 6. I think GTA 8. I said GTA 8, didn't I? Yeah, GTA 8. GTA 8, developed by Polyphony Digital. GT 8 will be a PlayStation 6 game, I think. San Diego Studio, MLB The Show ships every year. San Mateo Studio. San Mateo, they're listed as a support studio for second-party developers. So, Santa Monica Studio. Santa Monica is working on a new IP. That new IP is going to have to ship before the PlayStation 6. So, we'll get a new IP from Santa Monica. Sucker Punch, Ghost of Tsushima 2, let's go. That's happening this generation. Team Asobi, a new Astro game. That's happening this generation. And then we have XDev. There are other games that are being worked on with XDev in partnership with other studios that we don't know about yet. So this is what I'm saying, dude. Like, look at that shit. Look at that. How the fuck are you, like, I'm sorry, man. How could anybody be like, yo, Sony's going to have a shitty end of this gen? I don't think so, dude. I think it's going to be the complete fucking opposite. That's a lot of studios that have been working on shit for a lot of years. So, come on, boss. Man. You got hair in my drink, too. I don't know if I'm able to get all this out. Whatever. I'll just drink it. Whatever. I'll just drink cat hair. It's all good. We're fine. Everything's fine. But yeah, you know, when the supposed insider, if they're to be believed, when they come out and they say 2025 is poised to be a huge year for Sony, and I didn't even count Death Stranding 2. I want to see, dude. I want to see these damn games. Sony, please announce a showcase. Helldivers 2. We have an update here from the PlayStation blog. Greetings, fearless heroes of galactic democracy. Steel yourself for the next big push against the disgraceful enemies of freedom with our new war bond, Cutting Edge. Packed with high voltage vibes, Cutting Edge gives you the chance to enhance your loadout of liberty with ultra-futuristic armor, guns that spit lightning, super stylish capes, and epic emotes. Super Earth R&D experiments. Helldivers, we need your help. The Brainiacs in Super Earth research and development have some cool experimental armor ready to be field tested. This is where you come in. You're just the right people for the job. The X series prototypes. X03 Prototype 3 includes a rubber underlayer for insulation, handy, really, as this prototype's wires operate a shocking 400,000 volts. X16 Prototype 16. Warning, electric arc generates a strong magnetic field. Avoid use while near stapled paperwork. X00 Prototype X, or EX, sorry. The end result of several billion super credits and 12 years of research into creating the Soldier of Tomorrow. Show us it was worth it. Dude, I love this. Expanded arsenal. R&D didn't stop at armor, though. We're rolling out a new series of alien-splitting weapons with electrifying perks. The LAS-16 Sickle, a sweet laser rifle that fires in short bursts, and it doesn't need reloading. Just watch for overheating or shove a new heat sink in there. SG-8P Punisher Plasma. Exploding plasma rounds sound deadly because they are to aliens and allies. This modified Punisher shotgun is as fun as it is fearsome. And the Arc 12 Blitzer. Project an arc of close-range lightning or charge it up to fire off powerful bolts. Good for taking out multiple targets and giving you more time to pick a celebration emote. And you can unlock a new stun grenade, the G23 stun, and the LAS-7 dagger pistol. I know what I'll be doing, equipping the LAS-7 dagger and LAS-16 sickle at the same time, turning my Helldiver into a real live wire and melting the foes of managed democracy on sight. But we've got to do this with a touch of style, right? Get creative and accessorize your armor sets with 3 new capes featuring matching colors and designs. And so it says this is Cutting Edge is rolling out on March 14th. Now, here's the thing. This says it is a premium war bond. So I guess this is going to cost money? Like, I think the war bond will be unlocked. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm assuming when they say premium, that tells me that there's going to be some type of monetization involved, which is fine. But I wanted to give you guys a little update on Helldivers. I have last topic of the day here. Naughty Dog announced in December that it had canceled The Last of Us Online, but stated at the time that it was working on multiple ambitious brand new single-player games. We've known for a while that at least one of those is being directed by Neil Druckmann, the co-president. Okay, I fucking hate this website, dude. Sorry, it's just like pop-ups of ads. It literally just scrolled me to the top for some reason. But anyway, Neil Druckmann was speaking recently to Logic, the rapper, on his podcast. And after calling the game really ambitious and parts of it really hard to make, he touched on certain contributions of the co-director of The Last of Us Part 2. So let me just read you the quote. Working on this new game, it's really ambitious. Parts of it are really hard. But I've really kind of surrendered to knowing it's going to be really hard, knowing that it's going to stress members of the team out. Like, how do I make this a joyous experience for myself and everybody else on the team? And there's moments where, like, Kurt recently did something on this new game and really stepped up and gave this impassioned pitch. And I was so proud just seeing other people rise to the occasion and surprise me in these really beautiful ways. These days, I get joy out of that, helping mentor people and seeing them express themselves through art. So the big thing here is Neil Druckmann is essentially confirming that this new game that Naughty Dog is working on is apparently they keep using the term ambitious, guys. They keep using the term ambitious to describe their next game, which is very likely to be a new IP. So don't know that I have a whole lot to say here. I just, I feel like this kind of went a little bit under the radar. I talked about how Neil Druckmann recently said in that same podcast that, like, he doesn't know how many of these big games he has left in him, but he is working on this one, and we'll see, man. saying, "Don't talk, Neil, deliver." Saying that sounds like an RPG. I will say, like, I'm really fascinated to see if Naughty Dog goes in a just totally unexpected direction. You know, people, when we talk about Naughty Dog, like, you think of Uncharted. I mean, of course, people think of Jak and Daxter. People think of Crash. But I think these days people think more so of Uncharted, The Last of Us. Here's why I don't underestimate Naughty Dog as a studio. It is difficult to believe that Naughty Dog is the same, they are the same studio that made Crash Bandicoot. They made Crash Bandicoot. And they also made The Last of Us Part 2. It's like, all right, what are the chances that with a new IP, they're just going to be like, let's do it again? Like, let's just go somewhere we've never been before and see if we can make a really great game in a different type of genre. It's not going to be The Last of Us. It's not going to be Uncharted. It's not going to be Jak and Daxter. It's going to be, I don't know, like that'd be interesting, like an RPG. It'd be fascinating, man. But I'm curious. I'm so curious to see Naughty Dog reveal their next game because it's been too long. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. Like I'm assuming it'll make a splash no matter what. But I'm interested in finding out. I think everybody else is feeling the same way. Irfan, you're saying Neil gave high praise to Elden Ring, and they wanted to make an open world for a long time. An open world RPG is likely. That would be sick, dude. I will tell you, like, if that's what Naughty Dog's been working on, a new open world, like, action RPG IP. I'm telling you, I think they were, I think you're right. I think we got hints of their next game, dude, in the Grounded 2 documentary, where they're like, yo, we were inspired by Bloodborne. We tried to make The Last of Us 2 like Bloodborne, and we loved Elden Ring. Yeah, it's you know what? It's probably going to be a fucking fantasy RPG, bro. An open world fantasy RPG. That would be fucking sick. A high fantasy setting. Ooh. Yeah, dude, to me, that's how Naughty Dog wins people back. Like, I know that people love Naughty Dog no matter what. People love The Last of Us Part 2, but I just mean, like, you know, there's been such a divide anymore with The Last of Us, with Naughty Dog, with Neil Druckmann. And I'm so tired of it. It's like, dude, if they come out and they're like, here is an open world RPG, action RPG, high fantasy, I'd be like, yo, this is crazy. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. You have no interest in a Naughty Dog Souls-like? I'm very interested in a Naughty Dog Souls-like. I bet you, now that I'm thinking about it, what would a Naughty Dog Souls-like be? Think about it. What would the difference be? You know what I think Naughty Dog could do? I bet you Neil Druckmann's like, what if we made like our own version of like Bloodborne / Elden Ring? But think about what some of the, it's not a complaint, but it's the flavor of the game where it's like Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, all these games, they have some of the richest lore of any game series. Like, they all have such amazing lore, such amazing stories. What if they're like, all right, we're going to make like a very similar type of game, but we're going to allow the story to present itself in a cinematic way, like we've done with our previous games, like Uncharted and The Last of Us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, what if Naughty Dog ends up creating what is essentially like Dark Souls or Elden Ring or Bloodborne, but with cutscenes and characters and dialogue, you know? Where it's like, instead of the lore being written, on item descriptions and kind of being subtle and you have to like figure it out, it's like presented directly. Yeah, I guess kind of like The Witcher in a sense. Yeah. But I'm thinking like more high fantasy. Although Witcher's pretty high fantasy. Yeah, Witcher's pretty high fantasy. I think that, yeah, I did find that quite peculiar that they were focused on that game. Yeah, actually, I know. Actually, you've lost your enthusiasm. We'll see, man. We'll see. It'll definitely be an interesting day when Naughty Dog reveals their next game, because that's what I'm curious about, is if they're going to be able to win people back, myself included. Like, they haven't lost me completely, but I just think that there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'm not really interested in what Naughty Dog does next. But like, there's always that chance of, depending on what they show, I think they could definitely turn heads and make people go, oh, hold on now. I wasn't expecting that. Like, who knows? It's hard to say. We'll see. We'll see if Sweet Baby Inc. is involved. Irfan, you're saying Naughty Dog's still number one for you? But that's what I'm saying, man. They're a divisive studio now. I think they'll find success no matter what, though. You expect them not to show up this gen? There's no way. I'm sorry. Like, I can't accept that, dude. A whole, like, 8-year generation with not one single new game? Like, what? If that happens, I'd be shocked at the level of mismanagement. But we'll see. I don't know. You really got my brain going, though, man. I won't lie. Like, you got like almost like the conspiracy theorist in me going, where it's like, I did find it so fascinating that when I was watching the Grounded 2 documentary, that there were just these long sections where, like, yeah, did you know that we tried to make The Last of Us 2 like Bloodborne? We were so inspired by it. And Elden Ring. We love Elden Ring. Although I don't know, I mean, it's like, to me, that was just so like, okay, all right, kind of weird. Like, I wasn't expecting that. And then they're describing their new game as really ambitious. I mean, if you think about it, if the developers at Naughty Dog are tired of making such grim, dark worlds, working on some kind of high fantasy action RPG would definitely be a change of pace. And it could still be dark, I guess, in a way. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of interesting. Isn't it kind of interesting that it hasn't leaked yet? I find that quite fascinating. That, like, so everything else has leaked out of Naughty Dog except like their new projects. Like their new games, like what they're working on. It's very interesting to me. So I guess at this point where I'll leave it is Naughty Dog, specifically in their blog posts and in interviews like with Neil Druckmann, they have teased over and over again that we have multiple new games. We have multiple new games, not counting The Last of Us multiplayer that was canceled. Well, you know what? There is obviously at some point going to be a PlayStation showcase this year. I expect Naughty Dog to show up, man. Like you guys have been teasing this long enough. Let's see it. Hopefully. And then we can judge it based off of what they show for ourselves. But let me just double check. I don't have much time left. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Wow, okay, that's a crazy video. So I'm not, as I said earlier, I'm not going to be able to do a members lounge today because I have probably about like 10 more minutes left, 10 to 15 more minutes, give or take. And then I have something important I have to do. So hopefully you guys understand, but next stream I do, we will definitely do a members lounge. What I'm going to do now, though, is I am finished with all of my topics, so I want to just kind of chill with the chat. I mean, I've been chilling with you guys this whole time, but, no more topics. I just want to talk to you guys for a bit. Whatever it is you might want to discuss. I'll be able to do this for probably the next 10 or 15 minutes. So closest thing to the, members lounge, I guess, that I can offer right now. Oh, wow. You think you want Hiroki Totoki to sell Naughty Dog? I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think you're going to do that. Chilling with boss. I think he's... Let me see what boss is doing. All right, guys. Hold on. Check it out. He's chilling, bro. He really was just chilling. He was sleeping on the chair over here. I did have my little sofa in here, the blue sofa, but I decided to bring this chair instead. This chair is so comfortable. It's my favorite chair. Boss usually likes to sleep at the top here, above my head when I'm sitting on the chair. I did tell you guys I was going to give you some reps, right? What do you guys think? Should I do a couple reps? Or should we just chat? I don't know. It's up to you guys. Saying those armrests look comfy though. They are. It's a very comfortable chair. It's my favorite chair to game in. You're saying just play with the cat. Oh wait, hold on. He is awakened. This is going to be the remainder of the stream. We're just gonna watch boss. We're just gonna observe boss. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he wants to hop on my lap. Cat live shit. Yeah, I gotta get a boss cam. I mean, I won't really, but... Oh, all right, come on, boss. Come on. Boss truly is the star of the show. Helldivers stream for Super Earth. No, I'm not going to have time to stream Helldivers, unfortunately. We need exclusive boss footage. I thought about it. Your cat's ignoring you. I mean, boss ignores me at times too. I think it's normal. That's normal cat behavior. I will say though, boss, boss is much more, I don't know what to call it. Like Leia, as you know, like Leia is rarely in here and rarely on camera, and like she's it's not that, I don't know, she just like walks around the house a lot. Does she still exist? Yeah. Dude, you wouldn't know it. She's extremely talkative. Leia is the most talkative cat I've ever seen, man. She's meowing all over the place. You just look at her and she'll meow at you. Like she's trying to talk. But for some reason, like when I'm streaming, she just has no interest in being here. Like I swear, I think these cats know. Like Leia knows that there's a camera on her and she's like, I'm good. Boss knows and he's like, let's go. Damn, dude. The dude. Did I see that Ghost of Tsushima is already doing well in terms of pre-orders on Steam? I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised. Ghost of Tsushima is a great game, and I imagine that's a game that I assume a lot of people who already played it are probably double dipping on PC, but, you know, also a lot of people who probably have thought, man, I would like to play that for years now. Now they'll finally get the chance. Leia knows I'm crazy and doesn't care. Boss knows I'm crazy and wants to save me. Yeah, that's what it is. That's so funny. Rise of the Ronin looks like an ambitious game. I'm really excited for Rise of the Ronin, man. Like, it's approaching much faster than I expected. You coming back over here, boss? I'm surprised he's still coming over here, man. He is totally addicted to these snacks I gave him. He's like nudging the mic, like, come on, bro. Where are my snacks? I honestly can't give you any more, boss. I gave you probably double the amount. I don't want to make you like overweight. That wouldn't be good. Bring in Leia. I would if I knew she was out. Sometimes, occasionally, she'll be outside the door, kind of like scratching it a little bit. But I don't. She's probably sleeping somewhere. Score prediction for Ronin? I could see Rise of the Ronin scoring in the low 80s. Truthfully. But maybe high 80s? If it's really that good. An 85. An 85 would be good, yeah. I feel like half this stream has just been boss sitting in front of me. No way, bro. Boss, I can't. All right, you want more treats? Fine. I'll give you a couple more. Watch the keyboard, man. All right, that's it. No more. You guys will have to let me know. I probably won't notice it because I see boss every day, all day. If this cat starts getting fat, you let me know. I'll trim back. I'll cut down the snacks if he starts getting fat. You're saying I'm his crack dealer? There's no catnip in these either. Bro needs intervention. Yeah, he's enjoying himself. All right. So we're about to approach the 3-hour mark, guys, and so yeah, I gotta call the stream here. I have something important I gotta take care of today. So, before I head out, I do want to thank you guys, as always, for all of your continued support. Boss, I just gave you snacks, man. Hold on. Oh. All right. Let's try that again. I want to thank you guys for all of your continued support. We hit 57 members today, which is awesome to see. Everybody who gifted memberships, everybody who became a member, thank you guys so much for continuing to support not only me and the content and the channel and Boss and his snack addiction, but this community as well. And I also want to thank everybody who dropped super chats too. They help just as much. So, yeah, this channel is fan funded. I do rely on you guys to keep it going, to keep Boss well fed with his snacks. So thank you so much for everything you do. I also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps. So if you see him in the comments, show him some love, give him a thank you. I know he appreciates it. And yeah, so again, no members lounge today, but the next stream we do, there should be a members lounge then. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day, and I will catch everybody in the next one. So until then, guys, take care.